Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Good afternoon and welcome to Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you're with us up on 1130 The Tiger in Shreveport, or if you're watching along on CST or watching us on YouTube, 104.5 ESPN page, the Hangin with Hester and Hanny page, however you are with us today, we appreciate it. Cade Wazan, our audio producer today, Playboy Marty, is, aiding and abetting today, and Paul O'Neill, our video producer. Mr. Hester, how are you?
I'm doing good. The Braves, let's just say, took my hopes away pretty early, so I didn't have to sweat it out.
You only had to watch one inning.
Yeah.
Really half of an inning.
So I was actually coaching the flag game, picked up the phone out of the backpack to check the score, saw what it was, put it back in, and never looked again.
Yeah, well, that was pretty much how the rest of the game played out.
It's okay. Hey, you built yourself a 2-game cushion. It's okay. It's okay.
You're allowed to listen. If your pitching staff is going to give up that many runs, do it all in one game, and then you don't have to worry about it. They have pitched so well throughout the playoffs that they were allowed one mulligan, and after the second inning, they didn't really use anybody that is one of their key guys. So that was okay. Did you see any of Coastal and ULF yet?
Of course I did. I told you. Good ball game. I told you Coastal Carolina was a good football team. And, we had some snickers because I said I watched from Hunt because I said I watched them play against Kansas. I wasn't really watching, because of Kansas. I was just watching the game, and they made plays all over the place. I don't think the opponent necessarily mattered. And they beat Arkansas State by multiple scores, who beat Kansas State. And Kansas State looks like they're actually a pretty good football team. And so, yeah, Coastal Carolina, first win over a ranked opponent. And I hate that graphic that UL Lafayette put out didn't last very long. They put out the only ranked team in the state of Louisiana.
Yes.
That one didn't age well.
That's some petty person in the sports information department, so I didn't pay much attention to that. But what I did pay attention to, and we had the game on during Tiger Zone, but a lot of good, crisp football, which we haven't always seen. Yeah, but even the upper level teams we haven't seen. Has it always been crisp? No. Last night was a very well-played football game. You had one turnover for the two teams combined. You had 75 yards in penalties for both teams combined. The yardstick was almost exactly equal. There was 1 yard worth of difference. Neither team led by more than a touchdown the entire game, and Coastal won it on the last play of the game. That is, by anybody's definition, a well-played football game. And I enjoyed watching what I thought was good football.
Right.
So, the Cajuns come up a little bit. Both teams missed an extra point, I guess, was, the one thing, but that was in the first half. You had balanced attacks for both teams. I guess what I've been craving is a really good, well-played, close football game between teams. Not that I had a huge rooting interest. I mean, the Cajuns would have won it. That's fine. But I thought that was really good football. And I can't say that I've said that for a lot of games I've sat down and watched. It's like, man, that was a really good football game.
Yeah.
That was a really good football game.
Tackling, offensive plays, special teams. I agree with you.
I felt like the plays were made and not allowed, if that makes any sense to you, okay?
Trust me, it does.
Yeah, I mean, the plays were made not because of errors on the other side. The plays were made because of strong plays by the guys making them, and I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that game last night. We've got a lot to get to today. The Southeastern Conference schedule has obviously been altered for the weekend. Nick Saban and Greg Bryant both diagnosed with COVID last night. That was a big breaking story. We bring in now LSU Athletic Director Scott Woodward to talk about some of the ongoing things in the Southeastern Conference. Scott, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, Charlie. Good afternoon to you. Never a dull moment.
I almost want to ask you how much of your day is spent. You've been an athletic director for a long time. How much of your day is spent doing normal athletic director things that you would do in a regular year, and how much of your day is spent doing other things?
It's the majority of other things right now. It's just crazy with everything going on. But it's all part of it. You have to be ready for it. That's the nature of it.
Scott, was this something that you're ready for, right? Because you knew there was going to be a bump in the road somewhere, and you just didn't know when it was coming. And the first couple of weeks, they go off smoothly, but now, yes, it's unfortunate that it happened, but I've got to assume that you and your team were kind of ready for when that first bump did come along.
Yeah, you're always ready, and I always use the term. I don't want to sound like we know it all, but we're not shocked, but we're surprised, and we knew early on, and we always had to be prepared for things you couldn't imagine, and these are starting to happen, and it's just one after the other after the other. You just see. I mean, you guys know it. You're in the news business. The news cycle's so chock-a-block full. A story's dead in an hour, and because there's so many other stories, and it's just a nightmare to keep up with. But we try to focus on what we're doing and how we're doing it here, and do the best we can, which I think we are.
Scott, there were contingencies built into the restart of the season, starting with the delay to not play games until the end of September and adding the additional week in December for games that had to be made up. Now that 4 teams have had to reschedule a game, if there are additional reschedules for the same teams, is the league now going into contingency plans for if LSU or Florida or Missouri or Vanderbilt or anybody else has to reschedule a second game?
Sure. You have open date weeks that are on the table that people are going to look at, and sure, and how is this going to equate to standings at the end of the year? There's all kinds of discussions and all kinds of tiebreakers we're talking about for the end of the year if certain teams don't get to play a certain amount of games, and how it's counted, and there's not a final determination yet, but we're getting close on some of those tiebreakers.
Is one of those contingencies that divisional games in the reschedule will take priority over non-divisional games?
Not necessarily. That's not. I mean, I think what people are debating is probably standings of hey, where does it matter for the conference championship game, and do those take priority over the ones that don't? And when are those made up, and are they made up first? I think there's flexibility and there's discussion. There's not been final decision making on that.
Obviously, a lot of people, know the rule now. 53 players available to play in these games, and so when you kind of get a team that's close, if you get a team that's at 55, is that still a conversation, Scott, that you can have? Maybe, hey, we got 55 guys. I know the number's 53, but we just don't feel like we have enough players to go out there and play safely.
Yeah, and as you know, we have certain positions that have thresholds as well, offensive line, quarterback, that, hey, is it safe for the game, and is it safe for the kids? And we have to take all that into account. And so, I would be really surprised if someone tried to game it. I think for the most part, everyone wants to get these games off.
Scott Woodward is our guest, LSU athletic director. Scott, let me back up to the reschedule for Hurricane Delta. That obviously had to throw you guys into a mode where you had to make a lot of changes in a hurry. What does that do for your department? I'm thinking about the staffing, the financial hit that you take. How does that work when you have to reschedule a game for a different venue on essentially 48 hours notice?
Yeah, Charlie, great question. Organized chaos, how about that? But we were very lucky from the revenue standpoint because the league had the fortitude and the foresight to have interruption insurance. So we were covered for for this game, the Missouri game. We were covered for our revenue and for our expenses, and Missouri was covered for its expenses. And that's my only good thing that came out of that game, in my opinion. And I say that jokingly, obviously, but it was an atrocious game for us on the field. But I think from a safety and health standpoint and how we played it and how we planned it, I think we did the best that we could possibly do, and I'm proud of the staff, and I'm proud of the kids for adjusting, pivoting, and playing the game.
Scott, what I remember, we learned a little bit about interruption insurance when LSU's game with McNeese a few years ago was stopped a few minutes in, and what I remember about it back then was that it didn't make you whole. Has the insurance improved?
I hope so. That's the SEC's problem, not ours.
Okay.
So, they'll do battle, I'm sure, with the underwriter, and I'll cheer them on well, Charlie.
I understand.
Hey, like you don't have enough going on. Obviously, over the last couple of days, we heard the Saints were potentially in talks to maybe come play in Tiger Stadium. This is just a year that every single day when you open up the newspaper, if you still open up a newspaper like Hanny does,
yeah,
there is something that is like groundbreaking and something that not even necessarily a problem, but just news, and it just sends people in all different directions.
It does, Jacob, and that's the thing. What we wanted to do with the Saints is be a good neighbor and a good partner. They've been great to us, when I was here, and they've been great to us since I've been here. And hey, selfishly, we're going to need them one day, and we're going to have use of the Superdome maybe in an emergency situation. So you always want to be a good neighbor and help out when you can. And that's the most important thing that we're trying to accomplish is just being good guys during this COVID thing, and being thoughtful and being considerate, because the selfish thing to do is, hey, go bug off. We don't have time. We got our own problems, and we're not doing that. We're hey, open arms. We can help you, great. And if not, no skin off our nose, and we're here if we can do something to help you.
Scott, I know that you are in contact, and the league is in contact with all of its members about constantly adjusting the protocols. Have there been any talks this week about these are things that we may need to change to get the season finished?
Not really. I think for the most part, pretty much things are what you see is what it is, and there's nothing really that's a surprise from that standpoint. And we're just trying to get through it and do the best we can. But hey, like I told you, anything's possible and anything's likely, and so we're prepared to see it if it comes our way, and we will deal with it when it does come.
I promised you we'd talk about football at some point. Unfortunately, we have to put that off for another week, so I'll try to keep my promise next week on the pregame. Scott, thanks for spending a few minutes with us. I know you're busy. Thanks for your time.
No, guys, it's always a pleasure, and always want you and your listeners to know what's going on the best we can tell. We try to be as open as we can be and tell you what's going on. And you guys ask great questions, and it's very healthy. And I just want you guys to know, and your listeners to know, that we're working tirelessly, and I couldn't be more proud of my staff and coaches for going the extra mile. And just wanted to get that lick in for them, and thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks,
we
Scott.
appreciate it. Talk to you next week. It's a difficult job these days. It's a difficult job on its best day, but
right.
this particular stretch, it's gonna test you. The protocols, the virus, the things that you have to do to get through, to get to a yes, are going to test you every single day.
And just so many different things. I mean, this has been long-lasting. It's not like a 2-week or a 3-week thing like we see most ADs have to deal with, right? No. You have a storm or you have this situation pop up. It typically goes away in a couple of weeks, right? And so this situation, which has been going on since March, you've had to cancel, revenue generators, because baseball, we all know at LSU, is different than everywhere else. Yeah. Basketball had an opportunity to make the tournament. There's so many things that have had to change. We know what Tiger Stadium, 103,000, what kind of revenue that brings in. So you're dealing with all of that. It is, you kind of joked, and we were talking about it. You'd love to talk football with the athletic director, But right now there's so many other things going on that it's
the financial ramifications have been so devastating to athletic departments. We've seen so many programs that have had to be cut and things like that. I was happy to hear him say that the insurance has improved. We talked about that 5 years ago, and it was like, hey, look, you know what? Yeah, we got insurance, but it does not make us whole on a full Tiger Stadium home game. Well, okay, the insurance has apparently improved. That it will help them on a financial devastation year not to have to pick up another $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million, or what in a normal year for LSU would be able to be corrected pretty easily. This year, you're already so far behind that you're trying to get there. The other thing very interesting to me is that he said not necessarily will the divisional games be prioritized over the cross-divisional games, but rather it will be the games that matter towards the SEC championship game. And so let me put that into plain English for you, that if LSU has to lose another game and Florida doesn't, then playing LSU, if Florida is in contention in the East and LSU isn't, LSU may not actually play Florida. If both of these teams lose another game, to the COVID, that you have to reschedule, and Florida's in contention to play for the East title and LSU's not in contention to play for the West title, then the other game, if I heard him right, then the other game's going to take priority.
Right.
And that would be the same if LSU is in contention for the West and somebody that they were playing is not in contention for the East. If they only have one game to make up, what he's saying is it's going to be the team that's in contention is going to get the priority, if I heard him correctly.
That's what it sounded like to me as well. The thing I found interesting was, we hear the number 53, but, I asked him, hey, what if it's 55? What if it's 56? I think that's still a conversation where you can say, hey, we've only got this many numbers, and 6 of these guys are walk-ons that really can't contribute to our football team. And I'm glad that they're kind of coming together and saying, hey, right now it's not in best interest for us to play this football game. And everybody's kind of agreeing. I wanted to ask him, but I know we're running really long for time, about the situation now with Coach Saban, which I know we're going to talk about when we come back, not having your head coach. We've seen Mike Norvell, now Coach Saban, which Playboy Marty pointed out to me, changed the old point spread quite a bit. So, I mean, you're talking about missing your head coach. Has that conversation said, hey, maybe we need to postpone this game? Not going to do it.
We'll pick up when we get back here on this conversation. We are brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Tiger Air, an independent dealer of the American Standard heating and air conditioning system, which saves you money. Listen, I know things are cooling off here a little bit, and we're happy about that. But for your unit to run at its maximum efficiency, it's got to be maintained a couple times a year, and you always want to be in a position where you're not losing or wasting energy. So the programmable thermostat makes it easy for you to stay on schedule. And the beauty part is, if your schedule changes, you can change right along with it from your cell phone.
You're right. It is extremely easy no matter where you're at. Even if you're in your own home and you want to change it, well, you can just pick up your cell phone and you can do that, right? Okay, so we always tell you about the Comfort Assurance Protection Plan. Hanny mentioned it, seasonal maintenance, that spring and fall tune-up. Well, make sure you're getting that fall tune-up, because right now the weather's about to change, and so that's part of the protection plan. Discounts, increased equipment life, lower utilities, all that part of the plan we tell you about. Give them a call today at 225-754-8687.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community without being asked? We think that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust. If you know someone who exhibits all of these qualifications, nominate them for a Good Citizen Award, and they could receive $500 from Citizens Bank. And we'll recognize them here on the show. Get the details at citizensbankandtrust.com, and then nominate your good citizen.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Foundation failure is common in South Louisiana, and that's why homeowners here turn to a local company they can trust, WCK Foundation Repair.
WCK is the only company that specializes in drilled piers, the ideal solution for Louisiana's unique soil conditions. WCK is locally owned and operated by a group of professionals with years of experience.
Learn more about the signs of foundation failure on WCKFoundationRepair.com. Call for a free estimate. WCK Foundation Repair. Support the home team.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Coming up on Fridays, Off the Bench. We get you set for a stress-free weekend of football. No LSU, no Saints, no problem. We'll break it all down. Plus, Hunt Palmer stops by, Cole Kubelik talks the SEC, and a new Casual Friday OTB tier list. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Welcome back. Brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. This is Hangin with Hester and Hanny. Hope you enjoyed the visit with Scott Woodward. It'll be available on our YouTube page, Hangin with Hester and Hanny. You can go back if you missed any portion of that, or tell a friend. I thought he had some extremely interesting things to say about how they adapt. Alabama is going to have to adapt to having a game, we assume, without Nick Saban on the sideline, testing along with Alabama's athletic director positive and sent home immediately. He was on a Zoom call yesterday, said he is feeling fine, is not concerned about his health, but was rushed out of the facility and quarantined immediately, and then started immediately to talk about getting into being able to communicate on the football field. So we had some jokes last night on Tiger Zone that there was a manager that was charged with running a camera around practice, and essentially Saban was able to communicate with him through what he saw through those eyes, right. Was able to run practice and was able to say, hey, you know what, you screwed that up, do that over again. And he suggested on the Zoom call, hey, we're looking into the idea of, what we can do for Saturday. Well, we looked into it for him. Actually, a lot of people looked into it for him. The rule is very clear. Earlier in the week, I cited a Southeastern Conference rule that I thought was very poorly interpreted, that had a lot of dashes and numbers and letters and things like that one for the Auburn-Arkansas game. Well, this one is Rule 1-4-11-B. Very specific. Only voice communication between the press box and the team area. Therefore, he cannot coach from his sofa. Hugh Freeze can coach from a hospital bed as long as the hospital bed's in a dentist chair, as long as it's in the stadium. But Nick Saban is not allowed to coach from his home. Now,
And he can't be in the stadium because he's got a positive test.
That's correct. So
he is going to drive himself crazy.
I would give so much to
I don't even need volume
fly on the wall. The SEC
just
network,
a camera, no volume, just a camera.
The SEC, well, I think you pay extra for audio. If the SEC network had the opportunity to do pay-per-view, put a camera in his living room, audio and video, and just watch him watch the game, they do record numbers.
Oh,
I'd
watch it.
There's very, very few things that I've paid pay-per-view for. The boxing matches here and there, and I pay for the red zone and things like that. But I gotta really want to watch an event to go pay-per-view for it.
Yeah.
Okay, I would pay if they told, honest to God, $49.95 to watch Saban watch the game. I'd pay it. I wouldn't even ask for friends to come over and
No.
I'll watch this by myself, tape it, and this is just totally worth my $50.
You would see a lot of his hands. So his hands, when he gets really mad, they're as stiff as a board, and they're about right here, shoulder length apart, and they're just going like this. And then when he's really mad, if you watch him, when he yells, for some reason, he's got to grab his hamstring. So he always grabs his left hamstring.
He's trying not to pull something?
Whenever he yells. He did it every time. He got really mad. He gets up on his tiptoes. He grabs his hamstring, kind of lifts up, and then he lets you have it. There's a couple of 4-letter words that are coming out. I don't know why he ever grabbed his hamstring. We asked him one time, but he didn't give us the answer.
He probably doesn't even realize that he's doing it. It's just one of those things. Exactly. Okay, that's mine. What does this mean for Alabama? He's going to be in all of these meetings. He's going to put the game plan in, but starting 90 minutes before the game, by rule 1-4-11-B.
Right.
He can't. That's it. 90 minutes before the game, you're cut off. Go grab a sandwich, get comfortable on the sofa. Here's the game. What do you lose not having him on the sideline? I mean, this is the 4th and 1s. This is are we gonna onside kick?
Yeah.
This is everything to.
Do we really think he's not going to have some form of communication? A text, a something.
Rule 1-4-11-B.
Yeah, okay. I didn't ask you what that said. I said, what do you think?
I think that it would be interesting to monitor cell phone communications at that time.
Okay, so let's say that they play by the rules and they can't do any of the things we just talked about. Well, the thing is, now he suggests on defense for sure. I mean, he's in every defensive meeting, but he doesn't call the defense. Now, if something's not working, he's going to say, hey, stop that, do this, for sure. But he doesn't call the defense, right? Golding does that, so okay, you got that. Shark calls the offense. We know that as well. So it's more of what you just talked about. You got do we go for 2 here, chart? Do we onside kick here? What's our, do we kick it? Do we punt? Do we try a long field goal? That's kind of the game day communication. And he does have a guy, Steve Sarkisian, that has been a head coach at a very high level, Washington, USC. And so does he trust him enough to say, hey, the keys are yours? Now, the interesting part about this is you're not playing Mizzou. You're not playing Kentucky. You're not playing Arkansas. No, you're playing Georgia, right? So there's going to be some pressure situations arise in this game. And so that's what elevates everything. We were joking. I think Playboy Marty told me the spread actually changed 2.5 points.
Yes, it did.
Off Nick Saban not coaching, and changed 2. And that's a big swing for a coach.
The biggest, in my opinion, anywhere in college football would be him, and I'm almost a little surprised it didn't change more than that. And by the time we get to kickoff, it may very well have. My opinion, you can speak to this because you've been on the sidelines with the guy, is that the biggest thing that they will miss is his overall presence. Not any one call that he would make, not any one defense, not in any one 3rd or 4th and 1, but his overall presence of being there. Think of it this way. You operate a certain way in office buildings. We did for years. Okay, we no longer have normal office buildings, but back when we did, you operate a different way. How many times have been, the boss is here, look busy, okay? When the boss is out the building, it's a little bit different. It's got a substitute teacher feel to it, to where, yeah, we know we could get in trouble because they'll go back and they'll tell on us, but the boss ain't here. That overall presence that keeps everybody just a little bit more focused, that is, in my opinion, what they'll miss the most.
I agree with you there. I think there's a lot of truth to that. And like him, hate him, whatever. I can always appreciate he is a motivator. He's a guy that's going to get you motivated, right? And we've seen him on the sidelines. And when he wants you to know something, he gets his point across on the sideline.
He has a presence.
He does.
Okay, he has a presence.
Nobody's going to deny that.
Been around him enough to know.
I've never been around a man his size, and I'm not trying to say something. He would walk into a room, and people who were 6'5", 300 pounds would sit up in their chair.
Yeah.
I mean, Marcus Spears, it doesn't matter. Me, anybody was sitting up. It's like, that's who he is. That's one of the things that makes him great. So to your point, what does that look like without him? Pregame, are players out there kind of bobbing their head more to the music than paying attention like they normally would? I don't know. We'd assume some of that's going to play.
In that case, I actually think that there may be a little bit something added to playing Georgia rather than if they were playing Mississippi State, because the players will have a certain heightened – they know who they're playing this week. They understand how good Georgia is. If Saban wasn't there and they were playing Mississippi State or Arkansas or somebody that they didn't consider on their level, there would be – now, I'm not saying they would lose the game, but there would be – we're going to win this game. Saban's not here. Right. We can kind of go through the motions, and they might get an ugly win. Here, I think it's a balance, right? You're going to be more heightened because you're playing Georgia, but there's a chance you're going to lose. There was a chance that Saban would be there this Saturday. Georgia's got every opportunity in the world to win this ball game. That just went up about, according to Vegas, 2.5 points so far, that Georgia's got a better shot to win this thing.
Real quick, we've got a question inside the Bayou Ford chat talking about if Georgia wins this game, do you think Bama fans will kind of say, it's not a real win because Saban's not there?
Of course. But the problem with that is it does count in the standings. Okay,
that it does, Derek.
What Bama fans think and what his reality doesn't always match.
You talking about like the championships?
Yeah,
among
other.
How
things.
many are they up to now? In their minds, not like actual.
I don't know. More than what is actual. I
kind of like the fact that we had the opportunity to claim one like in the early 1900s, and we're like, no.
1908, no. They even put the thing up. Is that one for the old one? No, that's for the next one we plan to win. I liked that answer. We'll take a break here. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Richards Honda every single day, title sponsor of our show here. You can find them online at richardshonda.com. The trade-in and trade-up event is going on right now over at Richards Honda. So multiple ways to get more information. Of course, you can always visit them online, again, at richardshonda.com. You can pick up the phone, give them a call at 225-361-8320. But we encourage you every single day, go check out the 700 new and pre-owned vehicles that they have on the lot over at 13413 Millerville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge. That's I-12 and Millerville, because we tell you, they've got something you're going to fall in love with. And it doesn't matter what your needs are, they're going to be met over at Richards Honda because they've got a vehicle for every single lifestyle. You're talking cars, hybrids, midsize, full-size SUVs, vans, trucks. Not only do they have them on the lot with such a huge lot, again, 700-plus vehicles, but they've got them at a great price as well. Again, richardshonda.com. And as always, Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Peyton was awesome the whole time, like so friendly, very quick to just come up, like let me know if there's anything you need, and just really make you feel like you're taken care of and you're kind of part of their little law family.
At GMFS Mortgage, thanks to you, we've been changing lives for over 21 years. So far this year, that includes providing thousands of meals for the homeless, donating and helping raise $125,000 for the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, feeding hundreds of police officers during the stay-at-home order, and feeding local nursing homes. So if you're ready to buy, build, renovate, or refinance, choose a local lender that's changing lives in our community. Choose GMFS Mortgage today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning.
Tune in Friday night for a full night of prep football coverage. We get things started at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview. Catholic High and St. Thomas More kick off at 7, and we wrap things up with a full 2 hours of the Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
IU Ford Huddle's coming strong with a lot of stuff. And look, we're making light because he's okay. Okay, he just tested positive, but he's okay. Went on a Zoom call and said, "I feel fine." So I'll just read a few to you, see what you like. Theodore says, "Now remember the big long conversation between Kiffin and Saban after the game the other night." And so my response is, so what are you saying? That Kiffin gave it to him, or that Kiffin's going to get sick next week? I don't know. Kiffin did say yesterday on a teleconference, "Look, man, we can play today, but don't fall out of your chair shocked if something comes out where Ole Miss loses a game this week or next to COVID. Their numbers are shaky right now." It happened so
fast too. Cincinnati-Tulsa just got postponed.
That's right.
All right, that was a game that we hadn't really heard anything before. Now that game's postponed. So it happens so fast. It's not even one of those things where you have to have a story that, hey, pay attention to this one, watch out for this one. No, it can just happen just like that in the drop of a hat.
Paul wants to know, can he rent a helicopter and hover above 100 feet above the stadium the entire game? Well, okay, so we checked on this during the break. He can, but he still can't talk to the sidelines.
Right.
He can't. You can't communicate from the sideline.
What if he drops a message in a bottle and just happens to fall off the helicopter? Would that be littering?
Do you remember how they used to get – did you ever go to a game in the Superdome on how they used to, pre-computers, get photo images down to the sidelines?
I don't remember, no.
Okay. The first games I remember going to in the Superdome would have been in the early 80s, and they had
I was late 80s, yeah.
Okay, they had a string from the press box to the sideline, okay, of just a regular old piece of fishing twine, and they had a hole punch, and they took a picture of every play, and they'd hole punch into the deal, hook it to the string, put it on the string, and send it down to the field, and you could see these little what looked like Polaroids, okay, flickering all the way down to the field. So when you said that, I thought of it as, can he put that piece of fishing string from the helicopter on down to the sideline? The answer, no. Rule 1-4-11-B, no, he cannot. He's not allowed to do that.
I answered this question, but I'm not sure I got your complete thoughts. How much do you think it affects Alabama, and how much more so, don't you think that having Sark in place and having that experience as a head coach is a huge positive for them? Because there's places across the SEC that don't necessarily have a former head coach in a coordinator role.
he is better suited to do it than many other staffs would be. But no.
Like if it happened to Florida. Well, Ty Grantham's been a coach for a long time, but we've never seen him be a head coach on game day.
I don't mean this to slight Sarkisian. The drop-off from Saban to anybody is drastic, okay? I mean, unless Dabo Swinney is going over there to coach, and even that, okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like him, don't like him, he is the best.
Yeah, Dabo's not in the same.
He's not.
Realm, no.
Even with as many games as he's won. Saban's the best. And the drop-off from him to anybody else on his staff or anybody else on pretty much any other staff is going to be drastic. So, yeah, they're in better shape with Sark than somebody who doesn't have his experience level, but he ain't Saban. Nobody is. So, let's see. So if Kirby, this is out of the Bayou 4 chat. So if Kirby wins, will he really be the first Saban protege to beat Nick? Yes, it does go on your record. Now, the fans and the media will always say, well, put the asterisk.
Yeah.
He wasn't actually there.
Right.
But this is not the first time that a coach has had games go on his record that he wasn't there to coach.
Right.
Or that he turned it over to somebody else. I'll give you an example. This is women's basketball, but when Sue Gunner was sick and could not attend games at the Final Four in New Orleans, and Pokey Chapman coached the game as the, I guess, sitting head coach or interim head coach, however you want to call it, those games still counted on Sue's record.
Right.
Okay. And there have been other games where a coach he's still for instance, Mike Norvell. Okay.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the sideline for the game against Miami, but that counted against his record. So yes, this will count against Saban's record, but there will be an asterisk next to it because he wasn't there. And I actually think that's a legitimate asterisk. Yeah, you beat him, but he wasn't there. Technically, all right, let's see. Can Bama build a medical glass pod on rollers with a speaker system and bring it along the sidelines?
He would break the speaker system.
Okay, I can't cite.
His pitch would be too high.
I can't cite my rule here because that doesn't affect that rule. But this is COVID protocol.
Yeah.
You tested, you got to stay home. Hazmat suits, nope. Bubble boys, nope. Let's see.
Pam is making a vaccine today.
Let's see. What did count for Saban's streak against his assistants? We covered that. Is everybody pulling for Georgia? Yeah. Everybody that's not an Alabama fan is pulling for Georgia probably. Alabama's like the Patriots. If they're not your team, then they're very easy to pull against. I do think that the Bama fatigue has been eased because Clemson beat them, because LSU beat them.
Yeah.
That they haven't won the national championship in 3 years, which for them seems like an eternity. The Bama fatigue after he won his fifth was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
They would have had to be playing the aliens coming to, destroy the planet for people outside of the inner circle to root for them. I don't think the Bama fatigue is quite what it was 3 years ago. It's still there, but not quite what it was.
Covering the SEC on SiriusXM, we have the opportunity to hear from all 14 fan bases and beat writers and all those different things. And you're right. I mean, Bama fatigue absolutely was there. But Georgia kind of has this.
I know what word you want to say. I know. Go ahead, spit it out.
Okay, well, let me put it. They've got this
inferiority complex.
Yeah, I was trying.
I knew exactly what word you were looking for.
I was trying to find a different
2 words. No.
Okay, so that's what they have. Okay, and so if they win this game, they're going to let you know about it for a very long time.
Sure.
For a very long time, because they don't have rings to kind of back up their argument. That's the one thing.
That's the crazy thing about Georgia. Georgia fans, and they're nowhere near as bad as Alabama fans, but there are certain Georgia fans that have the nerve to talk noise to Alabama, to talk noise to Florida, to talk noise to LSU, to talk noise to Auburn, all of whom have won 1 or more national championships in the 2000s. Alabama's got 5, LSU's got 3, Florida's got 2, Auburn's got 1. Georgia hasn't won since Herschel Walker's been there, and yet they will still tell you that they are a premier program. Okay, well, that's fine. And I do think a lot of the Georgia program. I think it's one of the best jobs in America. I think it's got a tremendous backing there. I actually like the program. Okay, I think I've said this many times. It's the program in the league that most mirrors LSU. I think they are the two schools that are the most comparable, given the size of the university, their proximity to a major metropolitan market. There's a lot of similarities between the schools.
Really good football played in high school.
Yes,
where they're all
terrific
around them.
recruiting base. You're the school in the state. A lot of similarities between the programs. But the fact of the matter is LSU's won 3 since 2003 and Georgia's won none since 80.
I'll be honest with you. One of the things that makes me most upset is how you'll have some people talk about LSU kind of being underneath Georgia from Georgia fans, and you just want to point to not only what you just talked about, but it's like the last couple of times we played against each other
wasn't close.
No, wasn't close at all. So Georgia's got a lot. Their fan base, they're hungry for a championship this year, and as much success as Kirby's had. Let me just tell you, when we get messages, on our morning show, it's, hey, you better start winning some championships. You better start winning more than just the East.
Because the guys before
exactly,
you
which is crazy because, again, going back to it, it's been 30 years since Herschel Walker was toting the rock. 40 years, yeah.
Almost 40.
Sorry, he looks so good and he looks so in shape.
Well, he does. He looks like he could play this weekend. And I hate to break it to Georgia fans, but if they do win the national championship this year, it's going to be, but that was the COVID year. It's just, and it's going to be like that for whoever wins it. But if they break the streak this year, we'll take a break. Back on the other side, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Gotros Outdoor Power with 2 locations, one in Gonzales at 74 on Airline and in Baton Rouge Industrialplex at Airline. Our friends over at Skag making it easier than ever for you to get into the premier zero-turn mower on the market, whether it be residential or commercial. Skag is offering right now 60 months interest-free financing. And with free delivery and the best parts department anywhere in the state, you're always going to get service after the sale for a clean, comfortable ride and premier execution from the Skag units.
Hey, built for comfort and performance. We tell you all the time, man, these showrooms, go check them out, Baton Rouge and Gonzales. You're going to see something from Skag that you fall in love with. And this, look, doesn't matter. Hanny just said it. Residential, commercial, kind of the in-between too. No matter what your needs are, they've got something for you. GoChosOutdoorPower.com is a website across the state of Louisiana. Go check out that website. Find a Skag that you love, and that delivery is always free within the state of Louisiana. That's Gotros. We make it easy.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
They are exactly the same.
They're identical. Actually, they're not. House 2 also has antioxidant vitamin C.
Antioxidant? Then we'll take House 2.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Ryan Clark joins us, and we have a full hour of football talk with Mike Detillier. Hopefully you'll join us as well, 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We went a little bit long with Scott Woodward, but so we've got a short seg here. So I want to. This is one of these meaningless little throwaway topics that I want 2 minutes of your time on. How's that?
Okay.
Okay.
Did
you watch the Bengals-Ravens last Sunday? Did you see Joe Burrow get beat from sideline to sideline, just get beat up like he was, being overthrown by a pack of angry wolves, that kind of thing.
And then kicked a field goal to avoid the shutout. Which
That's what I wanted to ask you about.
we didn't even talk about that during the break.
Okay, so Wink Martindale, who's the defensive coordinator for the Ravens, is steamed. It was 27-0. Baltimore completely dominated the game.
Yeah.
Bengals put together a late drive, and with 37 seconds to go, they kicked a field goal. They didn't want to get shut out. Obviously, you're not going to win the game whether you go for it or kick the field goal. So where do you, former NFL players, stand? Chargers are winning a game 27-0. You're standing on the sidelines. You're watching the other team drive down. There's a minute to go in the game. It goes down to 37 seconds, and they kick a field goal. What do you think?
Only the 5th time since 1970 merger that a team kicked a field goal in the final minute to avoid a shutout. So it doesn't happen very often.
And by the way, this did not affect the point spread or the total. So there's no Vegas edge here or anything like that.
Me personally, I think it's kind of Bush League.
Yeah.
Go for the touchdown. I'm not saying don't try to score. Don't take a knee. Don't do any of that.
Yeah.
No, go try to score a touchdown. Who knows what that could do for T. Higgins if he catches a touchdown against the Ravens, the team that's the standard in that division. What does it do? Now, Joe Burrow doesn't need much more confidence. I mean, that's one of the things that makes him as great as he is. But, hey, go out there. Let him complete a touchdown to his rookie. Let that connection be like, man, hey, see, we did this against the Ravens. If we just continue to do that and grow and, all those type of things. So, yeah, don't kick a field goal. Why's that? It doesn't do anything to the game. And you have a veteran kicker in Randy Bullock who doesn't need confidence, right? Even though he shanked it against the Chargers. It's not like it's a rookie.
It's a 38-yard field goal.
Right.
What do you think Burrow thought?
I'm sure he didn't like it.
I'm as sure as I can be that he's like, let us go for it. I don't even remember what it was for.
I would love to actually have a camera on his face because I know the exact look Joe probably gave the sideline.
Because I don't care if it could have been 4th and goal from the 21-yard line. Let me throw one. Let us take a shot here.
This is the most competitive young man you'll ever find. I remember, I've told this story, maybe not with you, maybe before we got together, but when we were in Atlanta on the sideline for the semifinal game, and Spencer Rattler came in, and he ran like a 9 or 10-yard run. He slid. He had about 4 or 5 more yards he could have gotten before he slid. And the look on Joe's face, because he slid and didn't get those extra 4 or 5 yards, and Oklahoma was well endowed. In fact, that's why Spencer Rattler was in the game.
Right.
He's like, why would you do that? And I kind of sarcastically said, you wouldn't have done that, Joe? He goes, you ever see me do it? That's how he's built.
It's not often that you'd have a player agree with a coach on the other side about something that's even the slightest bit controversial. You'll take your side. But I'll just bet that if you ask Joe Burrow and he said, listen, no consequences, you're not going to get in any trouble with the team. We won't release. Do you agree with Wink Martindale? He'd probably say, Hell yeah, I agree with Martin. We don't want to kick no 38-yard field goal. Let's try and score a touchdown. Give us a shot.
Why do you do it?
It's to avoid the. I know why they did it. I just don't. I don't agree with it. I mean,
like so if you're down, even if you were down 19 at that moment, and you decided to kick the field goal to make it a 2-score game, there's some math behind it. Even though you're not going to get 2 onside kicks, at least there's math behind it. There's no math behind this one.
No, it's 27-0. Wink Martindale, by the way, said we will have something to say to the Bengals the next time we see them. So
what more can you say? Went them like a wet paper bag.
Please don't beat him up anymore.
Get our guy out of there.
Hour number 2 coming up. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who, without being asked, shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community? We believe that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust.
So, if you know someone that sounds like what Jordy was just describing, nominate them to be your good citizen, and they'll have a chance to win $500 from Citizens Bank and Trust. Plus, we'll mention him right here on the show. So go to citizensbankandtrust.com for more details and nominate your good citizen.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hand injury lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 2, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 1130 The Tiger. And on CST and YouTube, you want to go back and take a listen to Scott Woodward at the top of the show. It's posted on YouTube, Hanging with Hester and Hanny page. Please subscribe. Hunt Palmer once again shows up without food and wearing his Florida Gators colors.
Chomp, chomp, baby.
Because apparently if the game gets canceled, then you don't have to worry about that.
I got all my LSU stuff for the weekend. You gotta wear the other stuff during the week.
You're not supposed to have other stuff. You're not supposed to have. You work for the university now. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to wear Florida Gator.
It's a golf shirt. It's got a golf course on it.
It is a purple. It's a blue and orange shirt.
That's correct. It's a good looking shirt.
You know, blue and orange things I own?
None.
0.
You wear the same thing every day.
It's LSU. Is it different stuff every day?
Yes.
Okay, and it's who? Which team?
I got to go to work. You can't just wear LSU clothes all the time.
All right, so
you mean LSU
so
polo?
Hunt's wearing his blue and orange shirt because he feels that's acceptable because the Florida game's been canceled. You're wearing your LSU gear because you get all free stuff. Okay, and I'm wearing the same shirt that I've been wearing for the last 10 years because this is all Gordy would buy us.
They buy us.
Right. Okay, so
how long have you worked here?
19 years.
How many shirts have you been given in 19 years? Just for the station, not for like game
back
day.
in the good old days, we used to get 6 a year.
6 a year?
6 a year. We had purple, we had gold, we had white, we had black, we had long sleeves, and for the first couple of years I was here, they gave us like a jersey type button up.
Yeah.
That you could wear, pretty much anywhere, but we used them during baseball season. That didn't last very long. We cut it back to 4, and you got a purple one, you got a gold one, you got a white one, you got a black one. That lasted a long time, where you get the 4 of them. And then there was a year that we used the Sugar Bowl decals, not decals, but the Sugar Bowl logos on the side of our staff shirts, and we got dinged by the Sugar Bowl committee for using them without permission.
Ooh.
So we had to get rid of those. And then after a while we downgraded to 2, and then it was buy your own.
Yeah, okay. Well, I've worked here 3 years now, and I've got one quarter zip. It's a nice quarter zip, but it's quarter zip.
So the funniest story about old staff shirts was our president Flynn Foster went to Goodwill to make a donation one day, and found, don't ask me how, but there was an Eagle shirt at Goodwill, and he traced it back to Gordy.
Yes.
And so he sends out the email. It's like, what are you doing donating your old staff shirts to Goodwill? And Gordy was like, well, it got caught up with the other donations to Goodwill. I was like,
buy your own shirt.
So that promoted the email. Please do not donate your staff shirts to Goodwill. So anyway, so that's a history of guaranteed shirts that we took 2 minutes with. Hunt, how'd you do on the coach's show last night? Listen, I thought they had some interesting stuff.
I think that O gave some interesting commentary, and the questions were rather tame. Look, I mean, you sit in that chair and the light comes on, and you've just given up all the yards to Missouri. You think it might not go great, but I think that you've garnered some goodwill when you hoist that trophy in January, and the overwhelming majority of the calls were, Coach, we love you, we trust you, go Tigers, we're thinking about you, and let's go get it turned around.
And that's normal for coaches' shows, but he actually did answer some questions that had been knocked around for the week, and one that we didn't get to on Monday, and didn't get to on the teleconference. Actually got asked last night. I don't know if you asked this or if he got asked this by a caller, but this was about Eric Gilbert not being in the game.
Let me tell you, that last one was a mistake. Eric Gilbert should have been in the game. So one of the best players on the field at that time, and we was throwing a go route. Eric Gilbert caught the first go route. He should have been in the game. I got to take the responsibility. That was not a play for Torrey Carter for sure.
Okay, and so that's on the vertical, and Carter misses it. Okay, fine. But the goal line sequence, he wasn't in the game for that either, and we had been assuming that that shoulder had flared up on him a little bit.
But he caught 2 passes on that drive.
Right, and I thought he aggravated it on that drive. And
It's
not,
very possible. But my question is, and Jacob, this is for you, because I certainly don't know. How do we get a play called for a specific player and not have him in the game? I mean, so obviously 2 people are in charge of personnel, and one person's in charge of personnel, and one person's in charge of play call. When 44 is out there and we're supposed to have 2 out there, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, no, it happens more times than not. And, you don't have, tight end position coach is not available, right, on the sideline right now. You've got some analysts and different people trying to help out and do that. And it's been a while, so it's not like this is something new. And we always hear Coach O talking about rotations, like Falk wanted this rotation or, Mickey wanted this rotation at receiver. And so sometimes maybe if you don't have that guy to say, hey, no, we got to make sure that 2's in the game. It does happen, more often than you would think. But in the red area near the goal line, 2, that's where he's going to make his hay. And so if there's any people in the game on that situation, it's got to be 6 and 2.
So I'm still confused as to whether Gilbert was available in the goal line sequence or not.
That was the context of that question was, why do we throw it to Torrey Carter? And his answer was, we should have had Gilbert in. The goal line stand, that didn't come up. It didn't come up in that particular call.
Okay.
In the goal line, with the plays you called in the goal line stand, the first 2, Carter's probably the better option. You're running the football. What have you said about Gilbert the last couple of weeks?
He's not the best blocker.
So, but the 4th down for sure, when you're rolling to your right,
the 3rd and the 4th down.
The 3rd down was going to Terrace Marshall all day, every day. That was designed for him.
Okay, and that's fine, but I still want to have 2 in the game as a decoy,
right? But especially on the 4th down, he's got to be in the game.
The most impactful thing that he said about after 1st and goal at the 1 was we would have ran a QB sneak with Burrow. But we tried a QB sneak earlier with Miles and it didn't work, so we didn't want to run that again.
Hang on a second. I've got the clip. I know you heard it before, but maybe for the audience,
Well, let me say this to you. I spent 3 days on that goal line offense with our offense. And, we were running the same plays we ran last year, which worked. And these guys caught up to us. And we tried to go hurry up. We ran the same 2 plays in a row. The 3 technique, the tackle didn't cut them off. The 3 technique got in the backfield, hit them. We should have been in a 3-point stance. We should have been in tighter splits. But I do believe that if we had Joe, we'd have stuck the ball. We stuck the ball last week, the week before with Miles. It didn't work well. I think Steve was a little nervous about it. But I do believe that we shouldn't have took the ball off the line of scrimmage. We should have stuck it or throw an alley-oop to Eric Gilbert. We just need to be more creative. We can't run the same thing because people are catching up to it.
He could have called a post-game show with that. I got it almost word for word with people that were asking.
Look, my biggest thing from that takeaway is, I tweeted this during the game on Saturday, the hurry up and run the zone, scrap it. They've tried it 8 times in 3 weeks. It doesn't work ever.
Hester disagrees.
With what?
With that.
Hurry up and run it?
The look on your face suggests that you disagree with that.
No, what they did the first 2 plays?
No.
I'm talking about in general, when they're running tempo, 2-minute drill, first quarter, when they have gone up to the line quickly after a first down and then immediately handed it off, they have not gotten a foot.
I don't disagree with that.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
I don't disagree with that at all, actually.
The look on your face was like you had a problem with that.
Oh, no, they were showing the Braves score on the bottom lines.
I see where you'd had a problem with that.
Yeah.
11 runs in the first inning.
So we talked about this, I think it was Monday, and maybe it was Tuesday. You have to be a little bit more creative this year in your running game, because Clyde last year made a lot of people miss in the hole, around the line of scrimmage, and would pick up yards after that, okay? all they did last year for the most part was run zone. They were a zone team. They didn't really have powers. They didn't have counters. They didn't have stretches. They would run ISO every now and again because Thaddeus Moss actually did a really nice job of being able to run that play. Okay, so if you've got an offensive line right now that is struggling running zone, okay, maybe you start to do some different things. Maybe you start to pull some guys. Maybe you have to get a little bit more creative. Maybe you get in the pistol and you run stretch. I expect them this game against South Carolina to do more of those things because right now this offensive line, especially when you're missing Ed Ingram, they're getting pushed back a little bit. But if you get guys on the move, right, Charles Turner, he's an athletic guy. Maybe he can get on an edge. Maybe he can seal the edge. I expect to see more runs because last year, man, they killed you with zone. Now, the offensive line opened up some holes for Clyde, but Clyde got a lot of that. Look, go back and watch the Alabama game, right? Got free off the edge. Clyde spins, makes him miss, goes to the corner of the end zone.
How big of a impediment to this run game is that the quarterback is no threat to run? Because last year the quarterback was certainly a threat to run.
He was. I still don't think teams were necessarily game planning around it. But to your point though, when you do run a zone like they run, there is always that threat when you have a guy that can move a little bit of pulling that. And we've seen a couple times where Miles probably had the opportunity to pull the ball out, and he's just not going to do it. That's not his strength.
They can be fooled on the play and catch Brennan, okay? Mm-hmm. It's just not what it's like asking a pitcher to hit, okay? They just don't do that well. So it's a part of the game that's got to be there, but they don't do it well. He's not out there to run the football. Last year, if Burrow fooled you, he could hurt you.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw that many, many times where the Alabama game is the shining example, but it was more than just that. They don't have to account for that anymore. So, like you're saying, you go back to the stretch. At least at that point, you're not trying to fool you with the quarterback at that point. You're not riding a guy.
Yeah.
You're just going to your straight stretch play.
And to me, it does seem like some of the backs were more comfortable running out of pistol because you get a longer look. You're going straight downhill. You're not going side to side. Maybe that's part of their strength.
You can play pass off of it.
I was about to say, but you can't fall into tendencies of only running out of pistol, right? If you run pistol, it can't be every time they motion to pistol, it's a run.
Yeah, they went to pistol against Oklahoma with Curry in.
Yeah.
They did that a lot in the first half.
Going to that, you can play action pass off of that. You want to know what my number one problem with the toss lead all those years was that you couldn't do anything.
Beautiful?
No, it wasn't. It was beautiful against Florida in 07, but no, you couldn't do anything else off of it. There was literally no once you turned around and pitched the ball to the tailback, they knew what was coming.
Yes.
You couldn't play pass off of it. You couldn't boot off of it. You couldn't do anything. But the only option you had off of it other than run the fullback or run the tailback into the line was a flea flicker that you could run once a year. Unless you're Missouri, then you can run it twice in one game. That was my biggest problem with that. Speaking of the run game, O talked about John Emery.
John Emery deserves more reps. Kevin Falk is doing a great job coaching our running backs. I'll let the guys manage their position. He felt that, Chris Curry came back from an injury, that he was healthy and ready to go, and he felt that he would be the first in the rotation. So that's what happened. But you know what? Hindsight's 20/20. We should have got John more reps.
You know what I'm going to say. He led the SEC in broken tackle rate before this game. Okay, so if you have
I stole all your stats for Tiger Zone last night.
That's completely fine. Did you give me credit?
I did.
Oh, that's all that matters. All right, cite your work. When you have an offensive line that is missing some pieces, right? You're playing a backup center at guard. Maybe he could have created something on his own. That doesn't mean anything about Ty Davis Price or Chris Curry. Obviously, they have a skill set and they're downhill runners. But when it's not working, and again, they were trying to play perfect because they had to. They couldn't really establish the run. I would have liked to seen him get the opportunity to get to the edge, see what he could do with the ball in his hands, because he'd had so much success the last couple of weeks breaking tackles because he's really changed his running style. I mean, he's gained some weight and he's actually run extremely tough, not only against Vandy, but Mississippi State, who Mississippi State right now, we talk about what their offensive numbers look like after playing LSU. Their defensive numbers are actually really good.
I would certainly like to see more of John Emery. The fact still remains that no running back in football was going to gain a lot of yards with the plays they were calling and the blocking that was being done up front. Curry was taking the handoff and being popped a yard and a half behind the line of scrimmage. There's just nobody that's going to
half a yard.
Anything. Yeah,
half a yard before contact, Hanny. That, to Hunt's point, Emery could have done more, but I don't know if Barry Sanders can do a lot with half a yard before contact.
No.
You realize that we just did a segment. It's not the only segment that we've done this week. Goal line. running back rotation, third down efficiency, and a little bit of play calling. They scored 41 points.
Yep.
Had 440 yards through the air, seventh best total in SEC history. I mean, you understand, all of these things are legitimate problems that we're talking about. And despite all of that, they scored 41 points.
Brennan has been sensational since the first game. I mean, he's averaging 370 yards and 4 touchdowns.
It wasn't all that bad in the first game either. He made there were some mistakes, obviously. It wasn't all that bad.
And that's with him having, 8% of his passes dropped. 8%. Right now, he sits 10th in the SEC. Leading is Jarrett Garantano. Only 2.2% of his passes have been dropped. Miles Brennan, 8.4.
How many? What percentage do you think got dropped on Burrow in the first 3 games last year? Because if you look at the stats through 3 games, the touchdowns are equal at 11. Brennan's thrown one more interception, but you can say that was on the last play of the game. The yards are similar. The one big difference is the completion percentage. Burrow at this point last year had completed 83% of his passes, and Brennan's at 60%. And so I ask you, the difference in that 23%, how much of it is drops?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about 8% of his passes. If you add that to there, I mean, yeah, it's a big difference. I mean, Joe was on pace now to set the record. He fell just short of Colt McCoy, but he was on pace for most of the year.
I'm not saying that Brennan has been Burrow, but you look at the numbers.
8%'s a lot. That's a lot of passes dropped.
And this is all 3 SEC games. Take a break. Be back with more. Hunt Palmer with us in this hour. We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
During times of trouble, hope keeps us calm, and courage keeps us strong. Here in Louisiana, we know this better than most. After all, we've faced hardship, but hurricanes and floods never washed away what makes us strong. It's our culture, the spirit of resilience that says rise and rise up again. We'll make it through the tough times, we always do. And Blue Cross will always be here to support you.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Auctioner Health.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
All right, man, what do you want to watch? Football or football?
Let's go with football.
Football it is.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Do you have or have you had COVID-19? Antibody screening or rapid molecular testing can tell you. Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours offers both with results from molecular testing in minutes. Learn more at lakeurgentcare.com.
Coming up on Jimmy Ott's Game Time, we're live from Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar from 6 to 8 p.m. Come out for a happy hour and some delicious char-grilled oysters, or tune into 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Toss lead.
It was beautiful.
You clip such.
Wait, I missed that when I was
poignant
putting my
thing.
headphones on. Can we replay that, please?
No. Toss lead.
It was beautiful. Yep, it was beautiful. It was, well, okay. It was beautiful from 2005 to like 2008, 9 maybe, ish. And then everybody's like, hey, it's Stone Age play. But it had its time that it was beautiful.
So the flying wedge.
And at the time, it was beautiful.
They outlawed it.
The veer was beautiful at a time. The wishbone.
Leather
wing
helmets.
tee.
At one time.
I tell you, I still, even though it's antiquated now, watching that Pony Excess documentary, watching McElhenney run that triple option is still pretty 30 years later.
If you run it, yeah. I mean, watching Army and Navy to this day, there's a lot of moving parts in that offense.
The old wishbone. You say, well, man, if you run it right, if you have a quarterback that is a threat to really run, how could you ever stop it? And modern defenses, I'll give you one. During the pandemic, when they were replaying all these old games, it was, what do you do with the 46 defense? They played the Bears, Patriots, Super Bowl, and at the time, it looked like the Bears were playing with 13. I mean, they really did. You couldn't block them. And what happened? 3 years later, they figured out, throw the ball on first down, throw the ball in the intermediate zones, throw the ball quickly, get it out of your hands, and you can, you'll have a fighting chance. But that year, it looked like the Bears were playing with more guys than you had on the field. Looked like at times that Missouri had too many receivers for LSU to cover. So O talked about this a little bit last night on communications in the secondary.
That is our biggest fault right now in the secondary. That when we make calls, we're not communicating. That's why you see the bus. That's why you see people running down the field. So the first thing that I told Bo that we got to do is simplify. Let's make sure we're doing what our players know how to do. So we're practicing stuff all week. If they know how to do it, let's run it. If they don't, throw it out. But you know what? We're doing a better job of communicating. We're demanding communication. There's some young players out there. It's the first time they play. And it's a little bit different than practicing in the game. So we need to go in the game in a tight situation, still need to communicate, hand signals or whatever it may be, and be on the same page.
You wonder if they're thinking about kicking Stevens down and having him as just a straight linebacker, and he's talking about somebody completely new in that defensive secondary?
Who's the candidates, right? Is it Jordan Tolles?
Yes.
Is it McGothern? I mean, who?
You got the guy that I think.
You think Jordan Tolles? Because if you move him,
I'm trying to figure out what else
in your defensive backfield.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what else.
But
he's
the linebackers
talking about.
have been lost as well, right? So that's been a weakness as well.
So if you're
there's
talking
Micro
about
Baskerville potentially, I mean, if he's talking about changes,
we went through this on Monday and we talked about personnel changes and we talked about personnel changes up front. It's like, I don't know who you're talking about, and you're playing all the corners, okay? and you're playing the two safeties.
Josh White at linebacker, somebody he talked about on Tuesday on OTB.
Okay, I'll listen to that argument. But if you're going to make a major personnel change, that's the one that, is he hinting at that, or am I just making this up in my own head?
I think anything's on the table. I truly do. I don't think there's anything that's off the table, because if you are going to simplify it, well, that allows the freshman to maybe catch up. And if you're only going to do this, well, maybe it's a freshman. Maybe it's somebody we're not even talking about here. But he seems pretty intent on making changes. Not just really minor ones, but
it sounds to me more schematic than personnel. I mean,
right, but if you can't get it, if you can't get the scheme, even if they make it, simplified, then you still got to get somebody else in there.
And he said Monday he said personnel changes. I mean, he's been pretty transparent. He told everybody that his quarterback wasn't going to play this weekend when he didn't have to say anything, and he did anyway. So I take the man at his word.
So I mean, that's shocking for me to hear. I mean, I mentioned that to him last night. And he said, "Yeah, he wasn't going to play." It's like, I tell you who wouldn't say it is Dan Mullen, because he threw 6 people out of his office in Starkville for asking about injury questions. Not even like reporting stuff from sources, just asking the question. He said, "Get out. I'm not answering them." And he's just doing it unsolicited.
Oh, Dan likes Liverpool. Can't really trust a guy like that. Rodarius Jones in the Bayou Ford chat brings up a good question about Rodarius Jones. A little surprised he hadn't been in there.
Okay. That's another one. It's kind of got to be
Cam
somebody.
Lewis hadn't played a ton.
He's out there a good bit. I see him. He's playing.
I felt like he would be a guy that almost wouldn't come out at this point, because last year he played a lot in big games. So he must not be grasping the full scheme. I know he is playing a lot, but that's an older guy. That's a guy that should get any scheme that you're playing.
He said Monday personnel changes, and he just said young guys.
Well, the bust it's the obvious is, to me, the one where Harris jumps the out and Ricks just bails to the sideline and the kid runs right by him. And then they cut to it and Pelini's talking to Ricks. I mean, that's a freshman who just was in the wrong coverage. I mean, that one was that's the last thing I'm qualified to talk about on here is X's and O's on the field, but that one's easy. A senior jumps a route, a freshman just bails, and the guy runs right by him, and then the defensive coordinator's yelling at the freshman. I can figure that one out with the context clues.
One more, on Bo.
We need to get better. I want to say this, though. Coach Pelini's defense, when he was here, was the national championship defense. He was first in the SEC. I think he was top in the country. So he's had some great defense. I believe in Bo. I will support him. Do we need to get better? Hell yes. And we played poor defense. And I said it was embarrassing. And I got to take the blame. I got to get it fixed, whatever it is. I'm the head coach. There's too many miscommunications. There's too many missed tackles. We got to simplify our stuff, put our guys in position, and let them make plays.
We spent a decent amount of time on this last night. That the idea that this scheme is outdated. No, there's plenty of people playing things that are like this. Some of these basic concepts, and don't get too caught up in 4-3 versus 3-4.
Very basic offensive route combinations.
Yeah.
What Mississippi State was doing, they've been doing for 20 years. He mentioned the 07 defense, the national championship defense, and this just kind of popped in my mind. And this isn't disrespect against any of these players, but when you look at Chevis Jackson, when you look at Jonathan Zenon, you look at Curtis Taylor, even Stelty. Stelty played 7 years in the NFL, very talented player, but they got the scheme. They got it, and they did it to perfection. Now, you've got, Derek Stingley and Elias Ricks are more talented than Zenon and Chevis, and they were both great players, don't get me wrong. But my point is, if you get this scheme, and if you truly get it, you're going to be in the right spot to make plays. How many plays did Chevis Jackson make here? Jonathan Zenon won us the SEC championship game. Craig Stelch was an All-American, right? Curtis Taylor started for 2.5 years.
And you spent, 20 minutes the other day describing what the defense, the differences in the defense that he is employing now and the defense that he employed in 2007. I think some people believe that this is the 2007 schematics and there are no changes to it.
Oh, this is
not
big
true.
Change. No, there's big changes. I mean, the 07 defense, we were under team. We ran under all the time. We had Sam linebacker on line of scrimmage. That's who we were. And, that's gone. There's no longer doing that. So he's evolved with the game. But, again, now that's their challenge. That's on them. The coaches have to be able to communicate it to the players, right? Because if they're not getting it, well, you've got to come up with a way that they get it. And we talked with Coach Gene Chizik the other day. I forget, was it Tuesday?
Yes,
sure.
Tuesday.
Let's go Tuesday.
Tuesday.
And Hunt, he was talking about, hey, all verbal communication when we were struggling to communicate went out the door.
Yeah.
Right? We only went hand signals. Because when you do a hand signal and you don't, have verbiage to it, you can't, there's no miscommunicating there, because this only means this. This only means this. Tapping your head, making an X, whatever it might be. When we were with Peyton Manning in two-man route combinations, there was no communication. Now, Tar Heel was a two-man route combination, but Tar Heel wasn't coming out of his mouth, right? He would hit his ankle for Tar Heel. He would stick his tongue out for MJ for Tar Heel. He would posterize. He'd put one leg up, one leg out, and he'd put the ball in the air, stick his tongue out too. That was Tar Heel. Like, that can only mean Tar Heel. That's the only play that we have.
I feel like I'm cracking the Russian code.
That means Tar Heel. I'm trying to think if there was any other one.
You better know your sports if you would, Peyton, to get all of the references, right?
Oh yeah, it's Michael Jordan. He's
a lot of people know about him.
He's the greatest.
Yeah.
He's the greatest of all time. We had Rice was one of them, and he would do like a pan, and he'd be shifting it, right? Like Rice, and he would flip it, okay? So you had to get creative because he played so long, and he was so paranoid about people getting it. But to my point, well, if he's doing like that, well, that can only mean one thing, right? There's no miscommunication there. It's all hand signals. It's all, and we would have a hand signal meeting, 45 minutes a week. We'd have hand signal meetings. Here's what we're going to do for this, and here's why it means this. That way you lose all the miscommunication.
To me,
of saying that.
I think the miscommunication thing is going to go by the wayside. The more they practice, the more they play, they're going to figure this out. My far bigger concern, is the fact that Missouri just handed the football off and Vanderbilt just handed the ball off and ran for 150, 200 yards a game. That is a harder thing to fix.
When Peyton Manning would give you a signal for Rice, it was always for Supreme Rice. SupremeRice.com. Out of Crowley, Louisiana since the 1930s. Hey, if Peyton Manning loves it, you're going to love it too. I really tell you all the time about Supreme Rice. Support our Louisiana farmers. Supreme Rice, grown, milled, and processed down in southwest Louisiana. Man, they've had a rough go of it here with the 2 hurricanes going through there. Support your Louisiana farmers. Listen, when we're going to make a big pot of something, whether it's rice and gravy or red beans and rice or jambalaya or coming up here pretty soon, going to be in the gumbo weather, we do it with Supreme Rice. You can try the long grain or the brown rice. We like the jasmine rice. It's so easy to get at all of your Walmarts, at all of your Costco's, all of your AG food stores. And, of course, you can go online and get great recipes and more information at SupremeRice.com. Take a break. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
If you're picking up a shovel, please pick up a phone first. It doesn't matter what you're doing on your property. Don't be the guy that causes problems for yourself, causes problems for your neighbors, whether it's through gas lines or communication lines, power lines, water lines. Any of these things that could be buried very shallow beneath the surface could be hit if you don't call 811. When you call 811, it's a very simple process. You give them your address. The operator takes it, and within 2 days, somebody marks all of the lines on your property, so you or your contractor can avoid them. So those home improvements come a lot easier, and you stay out of trouble.
So many ways, Hanny, to get this done. You can pick up the phone, dial 811. You can also go to Louisiana811.com. You can submit a ticket there, so you can call or you can click, right? So it's easy to do it. It's free of charge. They do all the work. They come and mark the lines. You know exactly where you can and cannot dig. So any project, big or small, that you have coming up, you must call 811 or go to Louisiana811.com. Call before you dig. It's the law.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
The winner is the dog with antioxidant vitamin C.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Jani-King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Jani-King, the king of clean.
At Cordell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a Tundra for $7,000 off MSRP. That's right, $7,000 off MSRP. And we have plenty in stock. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Cordell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Tune in Friday night for a full night of prep football coverage. We get things started at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview. Catholic High and St. Thomas More kick off at 7. And we wrap things up with a full 2 hours of the Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hester has breaking news.
Yeah, sure. Ty Lue is finalizing a 5-year deal to become the next coach of the Los Angeles Clippers, not the New Orleans Pelicans.
One of the finalists, he interviewed with the Pelicans. It was a guy that they appeared to be targeting if they could get him, but Houston and Los Angeles were there as well. Just call it straight, guys. There's been a number of candidates they've looked at that have said, you know, they would have. I think they would have hired Ty Lue. Nope, Clippers' job is better. They would have hired Doc Rivers. Nope, Sixers' job is better. And they're going to deal with. I don't know if they're going to deal with it with the candidates that they've got left. But if the Rockets want somebody and the Pelicans want somebody, the Rockets are going to get them. It's a superstar league. The Rockets have got a former MVP. The Pelicans have potential guys down the road. Williamson may win an MVP at some point, but right now
Pelicans' job is attractive.
It is, but the Clippers' job.
Yeah, the Clippers might have been the best out there.
Well, Kawhi Leonard is a former MVP of the finals twice. Okay,
yeah, Paul George for sure.
Harden is a former MVP. I
wouldn't touch the Rockets' job. Well, 10-foot pole.
I don't know what they're going to do because Daryl Morey quit today. He stepped down as GM, which may change their philosophy completely. But the Philadelphia job, Rivers said, you know, Embiid and Simmons are a better combination than Ingram and Williamson right now. Okay, so who's the next guy? Stan Van Gundy's name has been put up there a lot. He's had some success, and you know the Pistons' run was not good. But I guess my point is, we thought there would be some argument about how far up the line you were. You're at the end of the line. You're pretty much the end of the line. Every job out there, the contenders that were up for more than one decided that those jobs were better than yours. And they're going to decide that Houston is better than yours. If this holds, They're going to decide that Houston is better than yours too. I applaud David Griffin for waiting it out and saying, "Hey, man, look, let me swing for the fences and see if I can get some of my top guys." But with the jobs that are open, you're at the back of the line.
I'm just surprised though, because you have so much young talent. Because you've got a trade asset in Drew Holiday that you can get more young talent with, and all the jobs that we just mentioned, but also Billy Donovan going to the Bulls. Like, I don't think the Bulls are farther ahead, the East and the West. I know that conversation is going to come up. But I guess I'm just surprised at how people are viewing. Like, I respect Stan Van Gundy. I think at one time he was a really good NBA coach. I don't think right now he can be a really good NBA coach.
He was really good with the Magic's, really bad with the Pistons.
Right? So you want to go hire Stan Van Gundy? I think both Van Gundys are actually getting interviews right now, which is a little surprising. But
it's been a while since Jeff's been a coach in the league. I don't know that the Pelicans ever got really involved with Billy Donovan.
No, they did. I'm just saying, if I'm Billy Donovan, I'm looking at what the Pelicans have compared to what the Bulls have.
There seemed to be strong interest in Rivers and Lou. Like, they would have hired those guys. I don't know that they ever really got off the mark with Donovan. I would have, but what do I know? You're at the back of the list. You're at the back. You had a job with the Clippers is open. It's got one superstar and one maybe superstar. You got a job with the Rockets that's got one superstar and actually two superstars. Okay, you've got a job with the Sixers that may or may not have two future superstars. Maybe they're superstars now. They're all stars now for sure. And with the Pelicans, you have a team that is still probably 2 or 3 seasons away from making a run at the finals. Okay, you're gonna get the playoffs next year, I would hope. But from the can you make a run to the finals with the Rockets right now? Yes. Can you make a run to the finals with the Clippers right now? Yes. Can you make a run to the finals with the Sixers right now in the East? I think it's a little harder, but yeah, you could. You ain't going anywhere with the Bulls. Okay, right. So that's the down thing. Can you make a run to the finals with the Pelicans next year? No. You can make a run to the playoffs, but there's a process that you got to keep going through, and these guys that you're hiring, they're closer with those jobs. At least that's what they think. Real downer there, Hester, with your breaking news.
I didn't.
I had a whole positive
Let's
story.
Let's talk about
that. He signed it. I mean,
I had a whole positive.
I didn't know we were going to interview the Van Gundy brothers.
No,
Jeff had settled into his role of calling basketball games.
I had a whole positive basketball story for this segment. And now I'm like behind, so now I got to put it off another segment. Debbie Downer.
You don't have to do anything. I mean, you got like a minute and a half.
I don't have enough time to do the story. I got to take a break, and then I can do the story because there is good basketball.
I'm excited
news.
about the story.
Hunt is here with positive basketball news and no food.
Yes.
It's Thursday. We'll get to that when we come back. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. The interest rates that are at historic lows are holding right now. They won't hold forever, but they're holding right now. So if you're in the market for a new home, if you want to upgrade, if you want to have a construction loan to add on to your current home, you owe it to yourself to make the call to GMFS Mortgage. Start at GMFSmortgage.com. When you talk with a local counselor, they'll ask you some questions about what you're trying to achieve. Where do you want to be in a year, 5 years, 10 years? And then they'll lay out your goals. They'll lay out a way to get there. And from that point forward, they'll take you all the way to the closing, and you won't have any surprises. Listen, when I went through the process, could not have been any easier for me. And it's happened that way for thousands and thousands of people. So make that call. Take advantage of these historic low rates, either with a new home, a refi, or construction loan. Start your financial journey at GMFSmortgage.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
At Corbell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a RAV4 for $3,000 off MSRP. That's right, $3,000 off MSRP. And we have plenty in stock. So come on down to Happy Town.
Coming up on Fridays, Off the Bench. We get you set for a stress-free weekend of football. No LSU, no Saints, no problem. We'll break it all down. Plus, Hunt Palmer stops by. Cole Kubelik talks the SEC. And a new Casual Friday OTB tier list. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hanging with Hester, Hanny, and Hunt. Hunt is here with no food and good basketball news.
That's correct.
In that order.
Well, we'll do the food thing first. Yeah. Hungry Howie's brings you the content. You don't need food when you've got this unbelievable content 2 hours a week.
Yeah.
Go to hungryhowies.com. Download the Hungry Howie's app. We tell you about the deals I got going every single Tuesday and Thursday. These deals are every day, though. Get 3 one-topping medium pizzas for $15. That's $5 a pizza. Or when you carry out, you can get a large 2-topping for $7.99. Download the Hungry Howie's app. You don't need a whole pizza. You're just looking to pick up lunch or dinner pretty quickly. Get the Howie rolls. You get a pepperoni Howie roll with that pepperoni and mozzarella, the chicken Howie roll, grilled chicken and cheddar rolled in that delicious dough baked every day, or the steak Howie roll with steak and cheddar. Those are under $4. You want to pick those up for a quick lunch. Tell you every time, hungryhowies.com, download the Hungry Howie's app, or stop by the store, Nicholson, just south of LSU's campus at Lee. Hungry Howie's.
Hungry Howie's.
Good job, Jacob.
Thank you.
Tell me about Alex Fudge.
Alex Fudge is a big-time commitment for LSU basketball. Picked it up yesterday in the thick of football season, so some people might not have noticed. He's 6'8", 4, maybe a 3 from the Jacksonville area. I watched some tape on him. This is a top 50 kid, a 4-star recruit, had offers from a few SEC schools. Alabama was in the mix, I know. When I watched the tape, a guy that blocks a lot of shots, but I wouldn't call him just like a crazy athlete. He is more skilled to me than he is athletic. Really nice free throw form, good-looking jump shot. He can dribble. He passes the ball a little bit and really finishes well around the rim with that 6'8" frame. So this is, again, a top 50 kid, a big-time add to a class that's now by 247 ranked 11th in the country. It's the best in the SEC with a couple of names in the hat, and they added Alex Fudge yesterday.
When Will Wade spoke at his, it was kind of like a media day type of deal on the Zoom, he was asked about what questions are you getting on the recruiting trail, and we played the answer, and he's able to answer these questions because the investigation is still going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right? He's able to answer these questions to the satisfaction of a pretty good recruiting class last year and a pretty good recruiting class this year, at least so far. it doesn't appear to be slowing him down at all. So he's able to answer these questions to satisfaction of players, parents, coaches throughout the recruiting process from last year and this year. Is that what it seems? Am I missing something?
There's no doubt. I mean, you look at the guys that they brought in this past class that a lot of people wanted. I mean, Cam Thomas is one of the best players in the country, and Wani Wilkinson was a very, very highly sought-after player. I mean, he's been able to go get those guys. I mean, Jalen Cook is from your backyard. You figure you're going to go get that guy, but he's going nationally. And when you look at the class he's got coming in for next year, we talked about Fudge being from Florida. Jarrell Colbert is a 4-star center from Tennessee. Brandon Murray's over at IMG. And we got Bradley Azuero still in the class. He signed last year and is from Oak Hill. He's going to come into next year's class. And the other thing about Fudge is he's going to be an early enrollee. So he'll redshirt next semester starting in January, and he won't start playing for LSU until next fall, but he'll be on campus in January. So he's doing an awesome job of recruiting. This roster is as deep and talented as it's been in a long time.
Yeah, to Hunt's point, I mean, he did have offers from Alabama, but Georgia, Louisville, Maryland, Miami, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. So big offer list is kind of where we always go to. So if you can beat those teams out with everything hanging around your head, you're right. He's not really missing a beat right now on the recruiting trail.
And this guy there's so much to like about a guy that's 6'8" with already has basketball skill. There just aren't that many 6'8" guys, period. But to have one that knows how to catch it, dribble it, shoot it, along with block shots and throw down dunks. I mean, he's not unathletic. He catches plenty of balls off the rim and slams them in his high school tape and all that kind of jazz. He's plenty athletic, but to me, the thing that jumps out is that he's technically sound as a junior in high school, and I think looks really good.
You're talking about the 45th best player in the country, Hanny. I mean, it's a big get.
Yeah.
All right, now the off week, the unexpected off week. Before we let you go off to do wedding things and bachelor party things and golf things and all those things, and to find another shirt. How much better can LSU get in an off week?
Well, I talked to O about it off the air last night, just kind of chatting. What's your plan for the guys? And we did a little bit on the air, but he just said, "Look, we're giving them the day off like it's a bye week. We're going to practice on Thursday. We're going to practice on a little bit on Friday, and they're off Saturday, Sunday to just rest because they need it." He said Eric Gilbert's banged up, Terrace Marshall's banged up. Obviously, Miles was too hurt to play this week, so he's banged up. And there's a lot of guys that need a few days to relax and take some time off. They're going to do that. The coaching staff's going to be working, and they're going to be trying to fix things. I tend to think, we want LSU to play. It's what we build our weekends around, especially when the Saints aren't playing. We want to see the Tigers play on Saturday. It's what our Saturday's about. From a football perspective, them missing this game, not the worst thing in the world. They just, from anybody's perspective, were not ready to go play Florida and be competitive. They could have been, but it would have been a surprise to me. And I think that taking this time off, then coming back and playing a home game against South Carolina, who's undermanned and isn't all that great, gives you a chance to get the wheels back on the track. I mean, if you go to Gainesville and lose 51-21 and you're 1-3, I don't know if you can recover from it, quite honestly. I mean, it's very likely that you can't. You can go and beat South Carolina. You're not going to get a parade thrown for you, and nobody on the national media is going to say, "Oh, she's got it fixed." But at least it gives you a chance psychologically to move forward, and hopefully that's the case. They still have some good players. They've been atrocious on defense. They've got to get it cleaned up, and I think that this week taking it off is at a good time.
All right, who do you like in Tuscaloosa? Understand Saban can't hover in the helicopter. He can't have the walkie-talkies. He can't put have you seen the memes of him with the Bobby Valentine fake mustache?
I have.
They're precious. You can't put him in the Boogermobile with plexiglass or anything like that. So he's going to be watching from his home down the street, like he says. What do you think of the game?
I think Georgia's going to win. I never do this. I've picked Alabama to win every game for like 10 years now. I think Georgia's going to win the game. I think that if you played this game in Bryant-Denny Stadium in front of 100,000, that it might not be Stetson Bennett's day, but he gets a break there. And Alabama's defense is susceptible to some spread concepts. Georgia's played in a lot of big games. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Alabama won it, but I'm going to pick Georgia to win.
And they don't run anything close to what Ole Miss runs,
No.
but he's done a good job at taking care of the football. Alabama usually is the kind of in a game like this, Georgia has made big mistakes. Some of them have been panic mistakes with
fake punts
and fake field goals and things like that. But some of the times they have just flat out made the big mistake, and Alabama hasn't. That's hurt them. Maybe they don't make the big mistake this time because I don't want to say there's no pressure, but there's maybe less pressure. First of all, the stadium's mostly empty. Second thing is Saban's not on the sideline. I probably should have started with that. And the third thing is Georgia's got to have it in the back of their head that even if they lose this game, they're going to probably see Alabama again. They've got a leg up on Florida in the East now. You know, they still got to play them. I get it. But right now, if you had to pick the East, wouldn't you still pick Georgia?
I would.
mean, a week ago, maybe it was Florida, but this week it's Georgia. So I don't want to call this a mulligan at all because I'm very excited to watch this game. But Georgia is in the back of their head. They got to know, man, we can win the East without winning this game. And we can get another shot at these guys.
I think if what Kirby's got to realize, because it's not always the case. It wasn't the case when they played in the SC Championship last year, and maybe not in some other games. You got to realize when you take the field, if you're Kirby, we're as good as them. I don't have to do anything uncomfortable or impulsive. Just go play. And I'm not suggesting that he's never done that, but you could hear him talk after the game last year, after the LSU game, said we were just trying to get an incompletion here or there. Like, you can play with these guys, I think, and I don't know if that was the case last year with LSU.
You got to be aggressive if you're Kirby Smart. You cannot play your same old game. You cannot just hand the ball to Zamir White. He is only averaging 3.9 yards a carry. Kendall Milton, the freshman running back that LSU was on for a long time, well, he's actually your better player right now. So don't be afraid to put a freshman in the game. Do things you normally wouldn't do that make you uncomfortable, because Georgia loses when they get comfortable and try to play. What was the thing on LSU for a long time, right? You can't play Alabama like that. Well, don't play Alabama like that. You've seen what works against Alabama. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone, Kirby.
Enjoy your bachelor party this weekend. We'll see you. We'll see you. Well, you ain't having it in December. Back for hour number 3, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Started making beer at home and immediately fell in love with it. After like the day of my first batch of brewing, I was already thinking, can I do this for a living?
Oh yeah, obsessed with it. He was totally consumed by it, and then looked at me one day and told me I was put on this earth to brew beer. And I was like, wow, that is such a bold statement. And if you can say that about anything, then you need to follow your dream and do it.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. Buy a new one for less than a used one. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news from ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Clippers assistant Ty Lue has agreed to a 5-year contract to be the team's new head coach. Also from Woj, Daryl Morey stepping down as Rockets general manager. Team planning to promote VP of basketball operations Raphael Stone to GM. The Falcons shut down their facility following a personnel official testing positive for the coronavirus. If practices are canceled or other changes are made, players will indeed roll with it, believes the undefeated's Dominique Foxworth.
If you know anything about football players, they're going to say no excuses. That's always something that comes up, and they're going to talk about how this is going to be something that impacts a lot of us, and the teams that handle it best are the teams that are going to succeed. So no excuses is something that you're going to hear yelled in locker rooms all the time during something like this.
For now, there's no change to the status of Sunday's Falcons-Vikings game. Browns receiver Odell Beckham Jr. sent home today with an illness. His latest COVID-19 testing results will be known by tomorrow. Free agent running back Le'Veon Bell currently plans to sign with the Dolphins, Chiefs, or the Bills, reports ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. He could make a decision as soon as today.
Coming up on Friday, get ready to make some money in Week 6 of the NFL. Our gambling expert is here to pick winners. Friday on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 3. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Cade Wazan, our audio producer today. Paul O'Neill, our video producer. And Playboy Marty hanging in there. He'll be with me tonight. Going to sub in for Jimmy Odd's Game Time. Will be a Jolie Pearl tonight at 6 o'clock. Hope you can make it in your plans to be there with us. No Thursday night football, so we'll be able to do a full show tonight. No NFL. The Titans had to move everybody's business around, so no Thursday night NFL this week.
Yeah, which is a shame because that's what we do every single Thursday. It's kind of football season. You're supposed to have football. Yeah. We've already got Maction taken away from us. We had Fun Belt last night.
Got Fun Belt again tonight. If you want football, you got Georgia State and Arkansas State.
I like Georgia State in the under, by the way.
You like Georgia State in the under. Georgia State is catching 3 points, and the total is 72. 3.5. Okay. 3.5. And 72.5. It's a big total. You know what Arkansas State averages per game on in points?
A lot.
40.
Yes.
You know what Georgia State averages?
Well, I know how they get the over-unders. I know how it works.
33. And so the total is 72.5.
I know how over and under works,
right.
Andy. By the way, I got it at a much higher number earlier in the week.
Oh, doing our selective shopping, are we?
No, but I still like it then. Arkansas State, since they beat Kansas State, has not been the same team. Coastal Carolina embarrassed them their last time out before they beat UL last night.
Coastal looked good last night. That was a very well played
Georgia State
game.
played UL Lafayette extremely close. In fact, they actually blew the game.
But the game went to overtime, right?
Yeah. So, I like how, by the way, if you're watching us on CST or on our YouTube channel here, I like how you try to start the show without a jacket. Like, you're going to be Tommy Tough Guy. I ain't wearing a jacket today. Y'all know I wear a jacket every single day because it's freezing in here, and you end up giving up every single day. Just start the show with the jacket on.
See, but when I walk in here, I'm not cold, okay? I can take it for a while. It doesn't start to become uncomfortably cold in here until about hour 3. But you're right. As the temperature has dropped outside, it has gotten colder in here. Now, back in the summer, I could make it through the show because it was so hot outside that the temperature didn't drop it as much in here. But now, you threatened management that you were going to bring a standalone thermometer in here just to prove it to them, right?
I told you.
Have you done that yet? You're using your Coors Light can,
I'm using
right?
my Coors Light can to tell me, like, it's always cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged, right? Just chill with the Coors Light. It's kind of what we've been saying.
Of course it is.
But the Rockies are cold in this room. It is not supposed to be a refrigerator in this room, but it is.
And it's a wonderful way to gauge it. So when you're watching tonight, you're going to have a cold Coors Light?
Yeah.
All right.
Like, I got a doll hair or two maybe on the game.
Okay. Well,
chill out with a cold
you
Coors Light.
You did well last night. So obviously you're more of a more of a college guy, an NFL guy, because your NFL pick earlier wasn't that good.
I'm a college guy, right? Okay. Well,
okay.
chill out with all that. I didn't call you out for your bad picks. I love, and if you've listened to me for the last couple of years, I love Maction and Fun Belt, just to put a little bit of money on it because you're engaged with it, and it's always a crazy game. Like, even when it's like well played, like last night was, well, it always comes down to something at the very end, it seems like.
Well, if it's going to be well played and if it's going to be crazy, then doesn't that sometimes lead to it going over?
It doesn't have to.
Does
not have to. No, it does not, Hanny.
Well, you get your Coors Light. I'm gonna get me a Blue Moon Light Sky, new citrus sweet beer. Have you tried yet the Vizzy Hard Seltzer as well? It's made with the antitoxins, vitamin C, and it's only
low sugar.
Yeah, that's right. Less than a gram of sugar, 100 calories. You get it in the black cherry, which happens to be my favorite, the pineapple mango, the blueberry pomegranate, strawberry kiwi, alcohol from real canes sugar. And you can get it, like I said, in multiple flavors. So the Vizzy Hard Seltzer, part of our family over at Crescent Crown, Coors Light, the official beer of Hangin with Hester and Hanny. And we have gotten the go-ahead. We will be giving away stuff here very soon. So stay tuned for that. Bruce Feldman coming up at the bottom of the hour. The Coach O book is coming out next week. Have you had a chance to read any of it? I've gotten some of the excerpts from it. I don't know if you've had a chance to read it yet.
I had not had the chance to read the full thing yet, but I'm kind of like you. I've got bits and pieces of it. I'm looking forward to sitting down because his last book was really, really well done. I think we all enjoyed that.
Some of the excerpts that are in there come from right after the Troy loss and right about that time of that Mississippi State loss. So some interesting things. I learned a little bit just from the excerpts. I'm looking forward to reading the full book. Also, tomorrow we will have Dominic Foxworth, who wrote a really good piece on Tyronn Mathieu for ESPN, what used to be ESPN, the magazine, but they call it the ESPN cover story now. And it was a long, in-depth piece and it had much more about Tyronn the person than it did about Tyronn the football player. But some of the football stuff in there was very detailed, and it talked about some of the things that he does on the football field that nobody else is doing and why he was so important to Kansas City. So you'll like it if you read it from a football standpoint. If you want to know, hey, why does it seem like this guy makes plays that nobody else can make? I thought he did a very good job with some very specific situations, like in the Ravens game last year, and some of the things that he does that most defensive backs don't do. But also from a personal side, I thought it did a good job of chronicling his story. So Dominic Foxworth will be with us tomorrow.
Remember when Tyronn came out, right? He was positionless. They didn't really know what he's going to play.
It's a big part of the.
He's going to play safety. Can he play corner? I don't really know if he can play either at a high level. Well, he redefined what the safety is in the NFL. Now teams are trying to find guys like him that can do a little bit of everything. And so I don't really hold it a secret. Tyronn might be my favorite football player of all time. I love his story. I love the mentality that he plays with. I love having conversations with him now because he's authentic and he's genuine. He doesn't try to hide from anything. And I just love how much success that he's having, and it looks like he's having a lot of fun doing it as well.
One of the things, and the story is definitely worth your time. It's at ESPN.com. One of the things that surprised me, being a guy that follows the NFL draft religiously every year and has for a long time, is that the positionless thing hurt him in the draft more so than the off-the-field stuff. And that wasn't the narrative at the time. Now, obviously, it could have been a false narrative. According to the article, it was.
Mm-hmm.
But it was much more so that his off-the-field issues were what was causing him to try. He got kicked. He was a Heisman finalist that got kicked off of the LSU football team, an LSU football team that I'll go to my grave thinking had every chance to win the 2012 national championship if he's there. But I can't imagine that any general manager looked at him, positionless or not, and said, this is a guy that we draft him. We don't have a problem with the off the field stuff. We just don't know how he fits the football team. That one blows my mind.
Yeah.
Because if you watch Tyronn Mathieu, as we did for 2+ years here, it's like we'll find somewhere for that cat to play because he's too good to keep off the field. I mean, my goodness, even if you just liked him as a punt returner, and a guy that would play spot duty on defense, you would have found a reason to draft him. So that surprised me that the positionless thing was even that big of a factor.
Yeah, because he showed time and time again he can come off the edge. He can, take on bigger blockers, right? His size was coming into question when he was getting drafted. He can cover some of your best route runners. And obviously he's going to be aggressive. He's going to get guys to the ground. You're right. I mean, I'm still surprised that he's not had the opportunity to maybe be somewhat of a returner in the NFL. Now, he's later in his career, and he means a lot to the team. I'm talking more early in his career. In fact, the Cardinals had him or Pat Pete, pick your poison, at returner there. But so many great things he does on the football field. And one thing is whatever he does is going to be full tilt.
Sure. And I would have understood it if the off-the-field stuff had really knocked him down. Jimmy and I had a running bet on where he was going to go in the draft. Like, look, man, the player, first round, the off the field stuff, it's gonna hurt him. How much is it gonna hurt him? Well, we eventually
Who won the bet?
I did.
Where was it at?
Third round. It was right at the top of the third round.
No, I know where he got picked. We're the same pick. We're both 69th.
Nice. The bet was before or after the third round, and I said I thought he would go after the third, after the beginning of the third round. Like the over under was 64, whatever it is. But I didn't win it by much. The football player should have gone much higher, and he fell into a perfect situation out there with Peterson in Arizona, and it was a good thing for him. And it's a great story. I really enjoyed it. And one more thing before I'll let you go read it, and before we talk to Dominic tomorrow, what you need to know about Mathieu at this point is this. The Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year, and Patrick Mahomes was the MVP the year before, and arguably the most important player in the league last year, and didn't win the MVP maybe because he missed a few games and Jackson had a transcendent year. The Chiefs players and coaches vote on their own MVP. They voted for Mathieu.
Yeah.
On a team with Patrick Mahomes, they voted for Mathieu. Is there any greater respect that you can get than from your teammates and your coaches?
No.
Then that's the guy.
I said the same thing last year when Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Charles McClendon Award goes to the MVP of the team, voted on by players and coaches, right?
Yeah.
Clyde wins that one. Joe won the Heisman. Now, obviously what Joe meant to the team, but it just shows you respect they had for what Clyde was able to do for the team.
Take a break. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, after further review and more, are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jdacody.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm feeling good. So good. I just thought you should know.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At GMFS Mortgage, thanks to you, we've been changing lives for over 21 years. So far this year, that includes providing thousands of meals for the homeless, donating and helping raise $125,000 for the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, feeding hundreds of police officers during the stay-at-home order, and feeding local nursing homes. So if you're ready to buy, build, renovate, or refinance, choose a local lender that's changing lives in our community. Choose GMFS Mortgage today.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Well, the reason why I would recommend him because he's trustworthy. I mean, attention and love and respect of who you are, what you are, and the purpose why you came, he honors that.
Tune in Friday night for a full night of prep football coverage. We get things started at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview. Catholic High and St. Thomas More kick off at 7. And we wrap things up with a full 2 hours of the Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Bayou Ford powers the all-new 104.5 ESPN mobile app. Download the app today to watch our shows daily. Listen to us live wherever you go. Find out what you missed on demand and more. It's a free download available for both Apple and Android devices and powered by Bayou Ford.
War of words continues between the New Orleans Saints and the mayor of New Orleans. Saints sent this out today. I ain't letting up, man. Setting the record, this is on their official Twitter account. Setting the record straight. Since week 1, there have been 33 NFL games played with fans. Of those games, 10 were played with fans in domed or enclosed stadium. Week 2, Dallas and Indy. Week 3, Indy. Week 4, Houston and Dallas. Week 5, Atlanta, Houston, and Dallas. Week 6, Indy and Dallas. Furthermore, say the Saints and Cardinals have played with a limited capacity under a roof. In no instances have there been any reporting of COVID clusters or outbreaks in these situations or situations in stadiums with fans present. The mayor had an announcement today. I'm not sure exactly if this was a press conference or what, but she said she was asked about the Saints moving games to Baton Rouge. Quote, LaToya Cantrell, I don't have any concerns at all. I think that would be a great place temporarily. We're looking forward to the day we can welcome fans back into the Dome, but right now it's staff, family, and friends of family.
Phase 2.
Point whatever. This is fascinating to me, really, that the mayor and one of the biggest businesses in New Orleans are having this very public war of words.
Right.
Okay, ordinarily you have a relationship with the biggest businesses in your city, you would think, and you would come to some sort of I don't want to call it a truce, but some sort of understanding about, what is in the public's best interest and what is in the business's best interest, and some kind of compromise. There's been anything but. You had the mayor say phase 2. Okay, that's a little bit dated, but that's still a legitimate
it still
clip.
plays.
Yeah, no kidding. And then you had the Saints say, well, hey, listen, we'll work with you here, but we want to work towards putting people in the stadium. We've shown a number of places where it works, where the numbers are working, and they've cited a number of examples. And the mayor's been steadfast, saying, no, I'm going to keep you closed. And to the point where the Saints, very publicly, the Saints could have come down here, talked to LSU, worked things out, said nothing, had LSU say nothing, and LSU wouldn't have said anything, and never released it until they absolutely had to. No, they released it ahead of time. LSU talked about it ahead of time. They haven't scheduled anything for Tiger Stadium. They're talking about the possibility of scheduling for Tiger Stadium. In essence, it was, don't make us do this, okay? It was in the Saints press release. Don't make us do this. Well, our strong preference is to stay in the Superdome. This is where we want to play. But we've shown, a lot of numbers in other stadiums, and the numbers that are in your parish. And the state, by the way, the governor has given the go-ahead for all this, and you won't. So we'd rather stay here, but we will go down to Baton Rouge. And her response today is, go. All right. Go.
Yeah. Okay.
That's fantastic. Go.
Yeah.
Go to Baton Rouge.
We've seen fans in Baton Rouge. We've seen fans in Ruston. We've seen fans in Lafayette in our state. We've seen fans at Tulane games. We've seen just fans all over the place. And yeah, it's an indoor stadium, but the Saints pulled off the research, pulled off the data, and she said, well, they haven't been done in indoor games. Well, yeah, they have. They've been done. Here it is. Here's the list of teams that have done it. And I understand where the Saints are coming from. They feel like they're at a disadvantage because they're going to other places where they're having to deal with some crowd noise, and the other team gets to get a little bit of juice from their home fans, and you're still not able to do that. And I've been in the Superdome when there's not a lot of fans, covering the 1A state championship game on CST, and it's not the most lively place, right?
It swallows up.
It does.
10,000 people.
Absolutely.
I mean, it swallows up. It really swallows up 30,000 people, but at least you know that they are there. It's if you come back and you say, well, okay, you've had other places in the NFL, but that's different from here. The numbers are different here. No, the governor has said, okay, we're good. You can open this up, and you put people in other venues in the state. You've got high school football going on at places. You've got college football going on at places. And no, I don't have any concerns at all, she said.
Just wait till she does this to Mardi Gras.
Well, I'm sort of wondering what other businesses might want to relocate in the interim, since she is bound and determined to keep the city closed as long as she possibly can.
We talked to Matt was it Tuesday after he did his show down in New Orleans on Monday, and we are kind of asking him, hey, what was it like? What was the vibe? He's like, I was dead.
Oh, well, he had more than a few things to say on his show about it, and I'll let that stand. On his own, that's Matt's prerogative to say whatever he wants to say. But I'm just blown away that it doesn't appear that she is trying to move forward in any way, that in any type of way that she would help the businesses in New Orleans. And this is one of the biggest, where she has basically said, Baton Rouge,
losing a ton of money.
Go right ahead.
I mean, look how much money they're losing off the Bayou Classic. We know what kind of revenue that brings into the city.
And look, this is not a
Shreveport's like, oh, hey, yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah,
bring that up north. We'll take it.
Mardi Gras is going to be a whole nother argument that they'll have down there, and that's not really sports related. But anyway, that's the latest. The Saints.
It's not sports related, but they have events in that building.
Yeah. Well, you're right, they do. Endymion is in that building. The Saints are giving her every opportunity to say, let's come to some kind of compromise. They're saying, listen, here you follow the science. Okay, the governor said it's okay. The NFL has showed you that they can do this, and yeah, we've had some COVID cases, but we work through it. We're working through the protocols. We've been through all that. We may have to postpone a game. Who knows? But are you going to work with us at all? Are you going to try? Are you going to see, hey, maybe this would be something that we can pursue? Her response is,
Phase 2.
Go to Baton Rouge. It's go to Baton Rouge. I mean, I don't have any concerns at all. I think that would be a great place temporarily. Now, if I were a New Orleanian, which I'm not, I live here, I would be worried about all the businesses that I don't know about that are saying, please help us. And she's saying, no, go ahead and relocate. Because a lot of them won't be like the Saints and eventually come back. They'll just say, okay, well, if this is what you're going to do to us, we have to relocate. We don't have the financial resources of Gail Benson. We have to move, and we're not coming back. That's what would scare the hell out of me if I lived there.
Right.
Just a thought. No concerns at all. Somebody asked me yesterday, we were getting ready to do the show. I was walking in. Somebody asked me in the building, do you think that the Saints will actually play here? And my answer was no. I think that up until then, now this was yesterday, I thought that this was posturing. I thought that the Saints would, put this out there publicly, put a little pressure on the mayor's office as the numbers continue to improve a little bit, that she would say, okay, listen, let's say, no, I'm a lot more, and I don't think LSU was over the moon about this. I think, Scott Woodward was with us. Yeah, we want to be a good neighbor, but there's a couple of games where you got to play back-to-back days. Tiger Stadium would take, logistically it would be a load to pull off. They could do it, but is this what you want? Not really. Okay, we'll do it.
I charge him pretty good renter's fee.
LSU might make some money off of the deal, yeah, but is this what you really want to do? Yeah, we'll do it, but, I mean, our first choice is something else. I've changed my mind. After this, yeah, I actually do think the Saints are going to play some games in Tiger Stadium now. Because she's
all in. She's not back down.
Not only is she not trying to work with them at all, she's saying
bon voyage.
No concerns at all. Bye-bye. All right. Well, we'll see. Any other businesses we can poach while we're at it? Mothers want to open up another location down here?
Yeah. Come on, Mulots. We'll take you.
Pat O'Brien's.
Pat O'Brien's would be great.
Yeah. There's some
Commander's Palace.
There's some good restaurants down there.
I mean, we can go on for days, just a restaurant.
Bruce Feldman, when we come back, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you in part by the Tiger Athletic Foundation. As you know, we spell go a little differently down here. That's because it means something different here. Go means being all in no matter the challenge. It means roaring loud or standing together and fighting like tigers. Today, we face unforeseen adversity. The loss of essential revenue for LSU athletics will be in the tens of millions of dollars, but that go never stops. Your support is so critical to everything that goes on with LSU athletics. Donate to that victory fund we've been telling you about. Keep that go going, right? And so we know that LSU right now is facing things that they cannot control. Due to the restrictions around COVID-19, that loss is going to be great. This is a good time to continue to support LSU athletics. The Victory Fund, well, it's going to do that. It's going to provide financial support for the most critical areas of need, including scholarships, healthcare, and academic support for student athletes. Because remember, it's not only on the field, it's in the classroom as well. You can learn more information and donate by visiting victory.lsutaf.org.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Do you have or have you had COVID-19? Antibody screening or rapid molecular testing can tell you. Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours offers both with results from molecular testing in minutes. Learn more at lakeurgentcare.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I can't tell you how many people tried to discourage me when I said, I'm opening up a haunted house. If you love doing something, don't let anything or anyone stand in your way.
How he comes up with this stuff in his head and designs it is mind-boggling.
Debbie and Home Bank understand my business and understand that it's not normal. They've worked with me since the beginning to help my business grow.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Ryan Clark joins us, and we have a full hour of football talk with Mike Detillier. Hopefully you'll join us as well, 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Bruce Feldman joins us right now, just about 2 weeks, a little under 2 weeks now before Flip the Script, the book about Ed Ogeron with Bruce is out and will be available. Bruce, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good to be on with you guys.
All right, so you spent a lot of time with Ed over the years, obviously. What do you think as you've watched LSU's start to the season and how he's navigated that, plus all of the outside things with dealing with COVID?
I think it's been one of those things where, because of his experience over the years, I think he's kind of been in similar situations, you know, and it's interesting. We did a excerpt of Flip the Script this week on The Athletic, and the part of the book that I think is probably most relevant was after the Troy loss, and that's 2017, and how shaky things looked like, honestly, at that point. That was his first full season. Obviously, he hadn't won a national title at that point, so I think there was a lot of skepticism about whether he was the right guy to run the program. There was a coordinator hire that wasn't looking great. Obviously, that was at the time Matt Canada. And I think the leadership balance was a little different than in the locker room than what it was when he was the interim. So I think people will see kind of, when you read the book, you get a sense of, okay, how did this thing evolve and how did it grow from there? And I think because of that, I think he is probably a lot more comfortable in terms of, making adjustments, shifting, and also just feeling like, okay, here's where I need to weigh in. Here's where I need to let the people I trust, handle things in their own capacity, and then I'll kind of pick up the slack where I need to. And I think that's the part that really stood out as obviously they've gotten off to a struggling start this season so far.
Obviously, something that I was reading, like you mentioned, a couple things coming out for the book. One of the things that I found interesting was when they were going, to that Florida game, and Matt Canada and that relationship there. Matt Canada trying to run his offense in a meeting that they had with Joe Oliva, Matt Canada, Dave Aranda, and Coach O.
Yeah, and then that's the thing is I think you kind of get a sense of just how volatile stuff can be when things start looking like they're going bad. Now, obviously, this is and it's a unique circumstance we're talking about now, just because this has been 2020 has been a year of a pandemic. There was hardly anything of an off season or anything for ramp up to the season. I just think everything is so I don't know, it's so unpredictable right now. I mean, look, a couple of days ago you're coming off a really bad loss against Missouri, and now you're supposed to go to the Swamp. And the Gators are coming off a loss. Their defense looks bad, and all of a sudden then they have an outbreak in their program, and now all of a sudden, it's like that game's not happening for a while. So I think this is the challenge for not just Ed Orgeron, the staff there and those players, but I think it's a challenge really for everybody in college football as they're just kind of, trying to hit the curveballs as they come at you.
Bruce Feldman is our guest. Bruce, what changes do you think that this makes, or I guess maybe just puts them on notice? The Big Ten starting next week, they've been able to kind of overview the landscape of college football. What do you think we see from them when they open next week?
Well, they're going to be more cautious in terms of if they're a positive test, and in terms of guys will be shut down for longer periods of time. And I think that is not, punitive. It's more like, hey, we're going to be as cautious as we can be to move forward. The challenges that they're going to have is we're going into more flu season. Even if you want to say it's not this, the virus is different from the flu, I think the thing you've heard a lot from people say is, well, especially when you're talking about cold weather places, and certainly the Big Ten is that, there's going to be probably less people indoors typically, less people outdoors. They're going to be indoors a lot more, retreating from the cold weather, and that seems to be where the virus is more transmissible. So I think those are the challenges that they're walking into in that. But, again, as we've seen this week with the SEC issues, not just with the two postponements, but certainly now you have Nick Saban, now you have, his boss, his AD, Greg Byrne, both having contracted it. I think that, look, fortunately for Alabama, they were already testing daily. So hopefully they caught those two cases before they spread throughout the program. And I think the Big Ten, at least they're doing that. So hopefully they don't have cases like what Baylor had this past week, where it just really took off after they went on the road against West Virginia, whether it was from a cramped locker room or whether it was from a team meal. If you have somebody in the program who has a false negative and maybe carrying the virus, I think that's the part where you think you can be doing everything right, and it can still come back to really get you and then you're left with a roster that could be decimated.
Bruce, we were joking earlier. What would you pay in a pay-per-view setting to have a camera on Nick Saban not being able to coach against a top 3 team like the Georgia Bulldogs this weekend?
I knew you were going to. As soon as you said, "Well," I knew that's where that was going. That would be better than any alternate. Like ESPN's been very creative in trying to come up with, a coach's kind of alternative programming and different things to the games. But I would love to see that in terms of his reaction. What's going through his mind, everything like that. I mean, to me, that would be the best. Never mind anything like the UFC can throw on or any big fight. That would be the ultimate pay-per-view sporting event right now. If you could be in the room with him while he's really basically disconnected from his football program for whatever it's going to be, 4 or 5 hours.
Bruce, I wouldn't even need audio. I said it earlier. Like the audio, well, you'd probably get in trouble if you played the audio. I wouldn't even need audio. I would just want to see his reaction and his mannerisms if something went wrong and he was trying to communicate, which he can't do because of the rules put in place.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's going to be fascinating. I was on the Zoom call yesterday with him about an hour after they announced that he had contracted the virus, and I think they're still trying to figure it out because he can be, I don't say hands-on, but he can be very connected and very involved in the preparation. But once, I guess it's like an hour and a half before the game kicks off, they cut the cord, and then all of a sudden it's I don't know if it's necessarily all Sark's show, but it's going to feel like Steve Sarkisian is going to be the head coach. And, look, I mean, and he's probably as involved, if not more involved, than any coach in college football on game day. I mean, Les Miles obviously also has the virus, and, I'm not saying it's a plus or minus if Les isn't going to be hands-on during the game, but I don't think it has anywhere near the impact if Les is not in the decision-making process for 4 hours like it is for Nick Saban, who's invested in every aspect of the game, and that's just different. I mean, Gary Patterson from TCU is kind of like that, but I can't think of too many other coaches who are that far down, into all the decisions, not just on one side of the ball either.
Bruce, we're looking forward to the release of the book, Flip the Script, here in less than 2 weeks. We'll visit with you then. Thanks for spending a few minutes today.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Bruce.
And we'll take a break. We'll come back. The passing of another Louisiana legend, a member of the Louisiana and Pro Football Hall of Fame. We'll talk about a moment about Fred Dean, who Jacob knew personally. And we'll also do Ask Us. That's when we return. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, brought to you by Garcia Roofing, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, North Shore, and Lafayette. They are the only call that you need to make, and it doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's too big, too small, whatever you might be thinking. Well, they can handle any situation. Of course, they can replace your entire roof at your home, at your business, but don't forget, right now we've been having terrible weather, right? If you're noticing that there is a leak or you're not sure, and there might be a leak, well, it is free roof inspection from Garcia. They're going to make sure they get it done. They're going to get it done the first time because they're going to give you that Garcia guarantee, Hanny.
They didn't get to be the largest residential roofing company in Louisiana by not taking care of their business. So whether it's roof repair, roof replacement, roof cleaning, or commercial roofing, trust the home improvement experts in Baton Rouge, in New Orleans, on the North Shore, and now in Lafayette. You need a roof now and pay later. They will help you with that. Call 756-3100 or online. It's GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Peyton was awesome the whole time, like so friendly, very quick to just come up, like let me know if there's anything you need, and just really make you feel like you're taken care of. And
coming up on Jimmy Ott's Game Time, we're live from Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar from 6 to 8 p.m. Come out for happy hour and some delicious char-grilled oysters, or tune into 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Fred Dean, 68 years old, who went to Louisiana Tech, was a football player at Ruston High School and from Arcadia, Louisiana, passed away yesterday. He was a member of the San Diego Chargers and the San Francisco 49ers. He was a member of the Chargers Hall of Fame, the 49ers Hall of Fame. He was a two-time Super Bowl champion. He was a four-time Pro Bowler. He's in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, the College Football Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and you knew him.
Yeah, so him being from North Louisiana and playing with the Chargers, he would come back to San Diego, about once a year, sometimes twice a year. They'd have a little banquet for all the great players, and obviously I went up and introduced myself to him. My wife's uncle, Pat Tilley, played with him at Louisiana Tech. I knew my father-in-law, Chris Tilley, who played at Tech, knew him as well. So I tried to go up and create that conversation, and he was great. Wanted to sit there every single year, would talk to me. We'd tell old stories. He would kind of give me the lowdown on my wife's uncle, tell a story in the dorm rooms and stuff like that. And great player. He was just a massive human being. And I can't say enough great things about him. One of the all-time greats from North Louisiana, had a hell of an NFL career. One of the Charger greats. His name is in the Ring of Honor at Qualcomm Stadium. I don't know what they're doing at the new stadium, but I'm sure they're going to put his name back up there as well. So he was one of the all-time greats on the field and off the field. Definitely a sad day.
When I think of Fred Dean, I think of a guy who was one of the best pass rushers that ever played the game. And I liked those San Diego teams when I was growing up because of the offense. Dan Fouts and John Jefferson and Charlie Joyner and Chuck Muncie and later Wes Chandler. They were doing things offensively because of Don Coryell that most people weren't doing. So they were entertaining to watch, and Kellen Winslow. But what gets lost is that the two teams that made the AFC Championship game in back-to-back years were great defensively as well. And Fred Dean was a big part of that. Fred Dean, Louis Kelcher, Gary Big Hands Johnson, Woodrow Lowe. they were a top 5 offense, and they were a top 5 defense as well. And it was a big upset when they lost to the Raiders in '81. Now, Dean had moved on by that time to San Francisco, but it was a big upset. The year before that, they had lost to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati was, or the year after that, they lost to Cincinnati, but they lost to Cincinnati in, I want to say it was something like 6 degrees in Cincinnati. I'm not joking. It was one of the coldest games in NFL history. But Dean could just flat out get after you. And Eddie DeBarlo would tell you, he was quoted a number of times saying, when we made our first Super Bowl run, and by that time Dean had moved over to San Francisco when the Chargers got beaten at that championship game, he was a big missing piece for what we needed. Right. Montana was in his second year. They had added 3 rookie defensive backs to play in that secondary, and they needed at pass rush, one of which was Ronnie Lott, by the way, that year. And I just remember a guy who was an elite pass rusher, and it would be interesting. You get discrepancies on how many career sacks that Dean had, because sacks didn't become an official statistic in the NFL until 1982, when Dean had already played 7 years in the league. But most of the historians will agree that Dean had well over 100 sacks in his career. And so big loss for the football community here in Louisiana and nationally for Fred Dean. Great football player. All right, ask us. It says LSU is a basketball school now, not a question, just making a statement. They are still the defending national football champions, I believe.
They are.
Okay. I love what the basketball program is doing, but not so much. Ask us, should I skip my 1:30 classes so I can listen to the full show? No. What you should do is go to class, and then come back and listen on demand. 104.5 ESPN.com, watch on YouTube.
Or download the brand new app.
Thank you, Cade. So we're here to help you. We don't want you to make bad grades, but you should definitely listen to the whole show every day, one way or the other. Hester thinks you should skip class.
No, just as long as you're listening to the show. I mean, priorities.
Ask us, now that the LSU-Florida game has been postponed, how will you spend your Saturday?
Let's see, probably at a football field somewhere, because I'm sure one of my 4 sons has something that normally I couldn't go to that I'll be able to go to. So, nowhere else I'd rather be than on a football field with one of my sons.
I think I said this yesterday. My mother and my brother share a birthday in October that I never see them for. We're going to go down and spend the birthday with them on Friday night and Saturday morning, and then head back here, and I'll pretty much park myself watching football the rest of the day. Let's see. Do we have protocols in place to identify is it senile posters? No. We have a pretty intricate screening process, but senility is, I guess, allowed if you can put it into the keyboard. Let's see. Ask us, what do you like best about Baton Rouge, and what do you like the least?
Nothing better than a Saturday in the fall in Baton Rouge. Just nothing better. And that's why it's so disappointing that we don't have them this year, because there's something in the air, man. And the Tigers can be the best team in the country, or they can just be a good team. It doesn't really matter. That doesn't change. It's utopia for me, just a Saturday on campus and having that feel, because Baton Rouge is, a big city, but it's also got a college town feel to it. So I love that. Least favorite thing, traffic.
Yeah. Now you see, you're stealing my you're stealing my answer a little bit there. I could say a lot of things about what I love about Baton Rouge. I lived here for over 3 decades, and I've had opportunities to leave, and I like it here.
Yeah.
I could say the people, because I like, the people, not all of the people, but most of the people. I like the food. The atmosphere in the fall here is wonderful. And of course, the least thing is the traffic. I would tell you that though the thing that fits Baton Rouge the most is that it's just big enough and it's just small enough.
Yeah,
I've always referred to it as a very big town.
Yeah.
Because it's got a lot of town feel to it, but it's got a big enough population that you're getting some of that too. And besides that, what do I like the least? The traffic is the easy answer, but I'll tell you what I wish we had here. There's 2 things I wish we had here: Evangeline bread and Southwest Airlines. If Southwest Airlines flew here, not that I'm flying anywhere anytime soon, but if Southwest Airlines flew here, that would make me happier. Ask us, does South Carolina beat Auburn this weekend?
Yes.
I think they do too. They're playing better. Okay,
Auburn's not a good football team.
The records aside, I understand that Auburn's
it's going to be a close
record.
game.
Yeah,
either way, but
I like South Carolina. In fact, so many people like South Carolina. I'm almost starting to get worried that it's
a little dirty,
public dog.
Dirty.
Ask us, how much money would it take to wear Bama gear to an LSU home game and pull
not
for
an
Bama?
amount. There's not an amount.
No,
I'd rather
not
be
doing that.
I'd rather be poor and not have a dollar to my name than do that. I'm not going to wear any other team's gear. Like Look, this is as close to I'll get is drinking out of my SEC mug because they're in the SEC. But no.
You're not one of those people that thinks you have to root for SEC teams against
no. Me and
SEC
Jumbo
teams.
used to get in that fight all the time. I'm like,
you have to root for the SEC. No, I don't.
root for one SEC team. In fact, if the other teams in the SEC do well, that hampers my team from doing well.
Ask us, are boneless chicken wings just a marketing ploy to get grown-ups to eat nuggets?
Yes.
Okay, but they're still good, right?
Oh, nuggets are good. Yeah, they're both delicious, but yes.
It's not bad. Ask us, what was your worst restaurant experience? Do you have a really bad one?
I feel like you do off the top of your head because
this one's from a long time ago and it's not in Baton Rouge, but there was a meal we went to as a family that they served the entire meal to all but one person at our table. And so we waited and we waited and we waited, and after about 15 minutes it was like, okay, just eat, and we finished the meal before the last member of our family got served. That was bad.
I did go to IHOP one time, took all the kids. Katie was, we brought everybody, and they were out of pancake batter.
No, man.
How in the world are you the International House of Pancakes, and you're out of pancake batter?
It's like,
and it wasn't 2020.
No.
Can't blame it on that.
It's almost like some chains where the milkshake machine is.
No, that's never on. That's just being lazy. I've also been to Taco Bell when they said we're out of cheese. Pretty big ingredient in most of your items.
Shake machine always works at Sliders.
It does.
Always.
And I can tell you, not working today.
For Cade Wazan, for Paul O'Neill and Playboy Marty and Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Toss lead.
It was beautiful.
Hanging with Hester and
T-Bob Abear here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays,